Previously in chapters 1421 to 1440, the stars themselves bore witness to an act of ultimate defiance. Wang Lin, a second-step cultivator, did the unthinkable. He challenged a god. Standing atop the great emperor planet, he faced Master Simo, a powerhouse of the third step. Using the collective emotions of 10,000 spectators as fuel, Wang Lin unleashed a storm of ethereal fire dragons that shook the heavens. When Simo opened his Joss Flame Realm, Wang Lin countered with the ancient Thunder Realm and used a legendary ancient leaf to seal a god and Appo's source of power. But the true battle was not fought with fire or thunder. Trapping Simo within the Emperor Furnace, Wang Lin unleashed his most mysterious creation, Dream Dao. He delved into Simo's tragic past as Sima Mo, forcing the ancient cultivator to relive the loss of his sister, Little Lan. Broken by the weight of his own memories, the god withdrew, leaving Wang Lin victorious in spirit, though physically battered. Yet a greater shadow loomed. The entity known as the Sovereign, the traitorous third vermilion bird, emerged from the Fire Sparrow clan's holy land. He offered Wang Lin the one thing he has sought for 2,000 years, the complete resurrection of his wife, Li Muwen, and his son Wang Ping. The price? Absolute slavery. In a moment that would have broken any other man, Wang Lin refused. He declared that he would resurrect them with his own hands, owing his soul to no one. Bloodied and pursued, Wang Lin fled into the depths of the ancient star system. Behind him, the Sovereign Council unleashed the esteemed Heavenly Wolf clan and a lethal girl from the Sealing Extermination clan. After a ruthless game of cat and mouse where planets were detonated as traps, Wang Lin was led by fate to the opening of the Ancient Order tomb. The tomb has manifested as a world-devouring fog storm, a graveyard of ancient gods, demons, and devils. Now the tomb has closed, trapping all inside. Below is a sea of lethal fog. Above, a few scattered floating platforms held by the most vicious cultivators in the stars. Wang Lin stands on a platform soaked in the blood of his enemies. Around him, mysterious figures emerge from the shadows. A wine-drinking swordsman, a poison-wielding woman in white, and the remnants of the Sealing Extermination clan. The graveyard of the ancients has become an arena. The hunt has ended, and the struggle for the ultimate legacy begins now. On a platform not far from the thin cultivator was a cultivator that was the complete opposite. This cultivator's body was giant, almost like a ball. He had a kind smile and wore a robe along with a flat hat. He was holding a small abacus in his hand. With a wave it would create crisp popping sounds. Not worth it, not worth it. The fat cultivator shook his head, and the fat on his face trembled as he did so. While muttering something, he waved his hand and countless restrictions appeared, landing on the cultivators rushing toward him. When the restrictions landed, the cultivators trembled and they all fell into the fog sea below as if they were sealed. Although there were only 28 platforms left, 7 had been successfully broken into and eventually stolen after many fights. To be able to successfully steal under such circumstances meant that these people weren't ordinary. The people on those 7 platforms also caught Wang Lin's attention. What surprised him was that the 4th Heaven's Blight old man was one of them. The other 5 didn't have weak cultivation, and each one was from a different clan. They were filled with killing intent and looked like slaughter gods. One of them had the easiest time stealing a platform. It was an old woman in green who had a face full of bumps. She looked terrifying, and as she walked, the cultivators around her all revealed looks of confusion. The platform she had her eye on had more than 10 cultivators fighting. However, when the old woman approached, their eyes became filled with confusion and they unexpectedly backed off. Even the previous owner left the platform, allowing the old woman to sit there. The fog sea rumbled and more fog columns shot into the sky. All the fighting seemed to stop the moment it started. There were only 28 platforms left and the remaining cultivators had all died. Their bodies had either collapsed into flesh and blood or sunk into the fog sea. Although it was very short, it was an extremely cruel elimination. Among hundreds of cultivators, more than 90% had died and only 28 people remained. Wang Lin's expression was calm and he sat down to cultivate. He converted the flesh and blood he had absorbed to help himself recover. He hadn't exposed many of his methods, his identity as an ethereal fire cultivator, his powerful spells, and his various treasures were not exposed. This place was filled with danger and was extremely strange. Not all the danger came from the tomb itself. There were also many cultivators with hidden power around, giving off a mysterious feeling, so he had to display his might in the most effective way. The cultivators on the platforms all secretly let out breaths of relief and began to cultivate. However, an undercurrent was moving, and they all carefully observed each other. Although the battle just now was short, everyone had paid attention to each other's spells. Just like how Wang Lin had been focused on certain people, a lot of cultivators had also been focused on Wang Lin. Wang Lin had cleanly killed 6 others, which was enough to catch the attention of the surrounding people. His roar had also suppressed all other sounds in this place and caused the body of a Heaven's Blight cultivator to collapse. This was enough for them to be vigilant toward Wang Lin. This person's battle didn't reveal too much. The man in purple with the 10,000-foot fish looked at Wang Lin, his face still gloomy. The power of his roar caused someone's body to collapse and dissipate. His spells should be related to sound. One of the people who had successfully stolen a platform looked at Wang Lin with killing intent and hostility. Others only noticed his ruthlessness and the power of the roar, but didn't notice him devouring the blood mist. This kind of demonic method has become more common in the ancient star system recently. The fat man smiled as he looked at Wang Lin and played with the abacus in his hand. He definitely wants to kill me. I need to get help. The ceiling extermination clan girl was pale and she was biting her lip. The timid expression in her eyes became even stronger. I can't provoke this person. He let me go earlier, so I owe him. The old man Wang Lin had let go lowered his head in fear. The battle just now was something he would forever remember. The long-haired woman in white slowly withdrew her gaze and then looked at Wang Lin. Her expression remained calm and no one knew what she was thinking. Just as everyone was secretly observing each other and healing, the surroundings gradually calmed down. Even the fog sea seemed to calm down. After a brief moment of recovery, a cultivator got up and charged at the treasure before the head on their platform. Wang Lin opened his eyes and his right hand reached out. The 30-foot flag before the ancient devil's head flew into his hand. He examined it. It was an ancient devil treasure, but it wasn't great. Wang Lin quietly put it away and stood up. However, just at this moment, a huge change occurred. The 28 platforms rumbled and the dim sky roared once more. Thunder flashed across it as if it wanted to tear the sky apart. Just as the expressions of the surrounding cultivators changed, the 28 platforms trembled like crazy. As the platforms trembled, they all rapidly sank. This was too sudden, so the cultivators had no time to react. In an instant, they sank down more than 100,000 feet. The wind roared outside the platforms as they plummeted. A tearing force suddenly appeared on the cultivators' bodies. It felt like the blood in their bodies was going to be thrown out as they rapidly sank. However, the cultivators that could survive the first wave of slaughter were all powerful individuals. Despite the sudden change, none of them exclaimed. They maintained themselves on the platform as they rapidly sank. The sky got further and further away from them. The remaining platforms also gradually became black spots in their eyes. These 28 sinking platforms entered the fog in a flash. The fog rumbled and churned around the platforms before they were completely submerged in it. Wang Lin's eyes were serious as he witnessed the fog surround his platform. He felt like the platform he was on had fallen into hell, descending with no end in sight. After an unknown amount of time, there was a thunderous bang and the platform stopped descending. The surroundings were filled with fog, making it impossible to see anything. Just at this moment, a sense of danger filled Wang Lin's mind. He suddenly turned around and waved his right hand. There was a thunderous bang and the fog behind him was pushed back, revealing a hideous beast. This beast was covered in pus and was humanoid. Its hands and nails were slender and sharp. Its body had been hit by Wang Lin's slap, and it retreated back into the fog, instantly disappearing. At the same time, mournful cries were heard not far away. It was obvious that some of the sneak attacks on them had succeeded. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He recognized this beast. Although the shape of this beast was somewhat different, it gave Wang Lin the same feeling as the mysterious creature that had come out of the ancient god's head in the demon spirit land. With a cold snort, Wang Lin waved his hand and wind swept around him, pushing back the fog around him. Almost all the cultivators did the same and used spells to push the fog back. In a flash, the fog within hundreds of thousands of feet was gone, creating an opening. Among the 28 platforms, 3 were empty. A cold aura came from the cultivators and filled the area. The surrounding area was completely filled with fog, making it impossible to see outside. They were surrounded by fog. Waves of howls came from the surrounding fog. Strange figures popped out from inside the fog and revealed themselves to Wang Lin and everyone. Humanoid beasts loomed inside the fog. At a glance, it was impossible to see how many there were. The surroundings were filled with them. The old woman who had made everyone around her confused said in a hoarse voice, "Fellow cultivators, no matter what clan we are all from, being sent here together means we are fated. Right now, I hope no one holds back against these creatures. This old woman has read ancient records, so I know a bit about this ancient tomb. We are only at the outer edge and must pass the test to be qualified to enter the tomb." As her voice echoed, the humanoid beasts roared like crazy and charged out of the fog toward the 25 cultivators on the 28 platforms. This scene was shocking. There were thousands of them. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He saw oppressive emotions inside these fierce beasts. He could use this to ignite the ethereal fire. Ethereal fire cultivators were extremely mysterious existences in the inner and outer realms, as very few cultivators had encountered them. However, ethereal fire cultivators had a great reputation in ancient star system. Because these cultivators were rarely seen in tens of thousands of years, rumors of ethereal fire cultivators had spread. People thought they were as powerful as third-step cultivators. The rumors of ethereal fire cultivators filled the hearts of the cultivators of the ancient star system. All the cultivators here were powerful and had heard the terrifying rumors. Rumors stating that with a wave of their hand, an ethereal fire cultivator could turn thousands into ashes. Rumors stating that an ethereal fire cultivator's gaze could ignite the 7 emotions and no one would survive. Rumors stating that ethereal fire cultivators were like a nightmare to their enemies and would ignite their enemies' emotions, burning their enemy to death. Rumors stating that the anger of an ethereal fire cultivator could ignite the anger of everyone, and they would end up being the only one standing in a mountain of corpses. Rumors, more rumors. Aside from the girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan, no one here, not even the woman in white, knew that a legendary ethereal fire cultivator was hidden among them. Before ethereal fire was used, it was invisible. Thousands of humanoid beasts doesn't sound like much, but if you saw it yourself, especially with them charging out of the mist and releasing their sharp howls, it would be a shocking sight. Their ferocious expressions, fast speed, and terrifying appearances gave them a powerful momentum. Compared to the thousands of beasts, Wang Lin's group of 25 people was like a tiny boat in the ocean that could be submerged at any moment. These humanoid beasts all had varying cultivation levels. The highest ones were at the 3rd Heaven's Blight and the weakest were at the peak of Nirvana Shatter. By themselves they weren't much, but now there were thousands, and their bizarre speed made them difficult to deal with. Although dealing with them would be difficult, the cultivators present weren't weak. At this moment, all of them began launching spells and treasures. The battle had begun. Wang Lin's expression was calm. He raised his right hand. 10 million rays of sword energy rushed out. The rays of sword energy formed a storm and swept the area. All the fierce beasts that charged at him were caught and killed. However, just as those beasts died, there were flashes of red light. Despite being killed by the sword storm, a destructive self-destruction still occurred. The power of the self-destruction was several times stronger than their original strength. When multiple exploded at once, the resulting thunderous rumble overwhelmed all other sounds and spread far and wide. Dozens of beasts had been killed by the sword storm, and their explosion contained the power of a 5th Heaven's Blight cultivator's attack. As the force rushed at Wang Lin, his eyes lit up and a large light silhouette suddenly appeared behind him. This light silhouette shrouded his body and shined brightly. When the impact collided with the light silhouette, a thunderous rumble echoed. The light silhouette distorted but didn't collapse. The powerful destruction force was reflect and swept the area. The second wave of fierce beasts that were charging at Wang Lin were hit by this force, and they all screamed miserably as they collapsed. However, this set off another wave of self-destruction. Layers of explosions were set off with Wang Lin at the center. More and more intense destructive forces rolled at Wang Lin. Wang Lin remained calm and the light silhouette around him became even brighter. This light hid Wang Lin's face, so no one outside could see his expression. Wang Lin's mind trembled. Not all the fierce beasts had time to self-destruct. Some were killed by Wang Lin before they could explode. Whenever that happened, a white energy would enter Wang Lin's body. This wasn't ancient god power but life force. This life force immediately began helping heal his injuries. It was even better than the cultivators he had devoured. Wang Lin licked his lips as he stepped off his platform and charged at the fierce beasts. Not far away, the rest of the cultivators were all resisting, but a few had been caught off guard by the self-destruction of the beasts. They coughed out blood and were pushed back, then they got surrounded. Just as they were about to resist, the surrounding beasts exploded once more and the powerful force they released destroyed the cultivators. The woman in white was the most relaxed. Her expression remained the same and no one could see her use any spells, but any beast that got near her would give off a black gas. The beast would then scream and retreat in fear. Wang Lin's figure moved like lightning. He was the first one among the 25 that left his platform and slaughtered his way into the herd of beasts. This caught the attention of the surrounding cultivators. Wang Lin ignored their gazes. In one step, he closed in on a group of fierce beasts. With a wave of his right hand, the 10 million rays of sword energy swept across the beasts and rushed into their bodies, ripping them apart. A portion were directly killed before they could explode, and the white energy they released entered Wang Lin's body. Their powerful life force was absorbed by his origin soul and helped his injuries recover. When Wang Lin felt the benefits, he retreated by using the impact. In a flash, he appeared outside a group of fierce beasts that had surrounded a cultivator. His finger formed a sword and landed on the body of a fierce beast. After it was destroyed, Wang Lin moved away like a fish in water. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and in a flash dozens of fierce beasts were destroyed. The desperate cultivator that was surrounded became excited and looked at Wang Lin with gratitude in his eyes. Wang Lin ignored this person and charged off into the distance. Time quickly passed. All the cultivators had to pay attention to Wang Lin due to his actions. Wherever he appeared, the beasts would be immediately killed and then he would go somewhere else. The middle-aged man holding a wine jug in his left hand and a sword in his right hand had just pierced the head of a beast. He smiled as he faced hundreds of other beasts. He took a drink and was about to use his spells, but there was a flash of white light, and Wang Lin closed in like a bolt of thunder. In a flash, thunderous rumbles echoed and more than half of the beasts died. After absorbing their life force, Wang Lin left. The middle-aged man frowned and muttered something. Then his eyes suddenly narrowed and he noticed something. There were quite a few people who had seen through the problem. After all the cultivators here were cunning. Wang Lin's behavior had caught their attention, and they immediately saw the reason for his actions. Every time one of these beasts is killed before being able to self-destruct, a surge of life force enters his body. Not only can it help heal injuries, but it is equal to cultivating for several months. However, when they saw the problem, more than 1,000 had died to Wang Lin and another 30% had died to self-destruction. The remaining 1,000 or so beasts formed a dense pack. Wang Lin moved like lightning and charged at this group before everyone else. Behind him, aside from the woman from the ceiling extermination clan, who was too afraid, and the woman in white who didn't care, the remaining cultivators all charged forward. To them, these fierce beasts had become pills, and they were in a rush to get them before Wang Lin. Fellow white-robed cultivator, since we came as a group, we naturally can't let you face these 1,000 beasts by yourself. Let us all go together. Fellow cultivator, don't rush. There are nearly 1,000 fierce beasts, and if they were to self-destruct, the power would be shocking. We should be more careful. Fellow white-robed cultivator, I don't care about the rest. Just leave 300 of these fierce beasts for this lord. Roars came from these cultivators as they sped up, chasing after Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained calm and he sneered. The ancient god's stars between his eyebrows faintly flickered and a ghostly light flashed from the first star. Wang Lin's hands formed a seal and then he waved one of them. The Emperor Furnace suddenly appeared and surrounded the almost 1,000 fierce beasts. When the giant Emperor Furnace appeared, its ancient aura formed a vortex that swept the area. The moment those cultivators closed in, Wang Lin roared, "Refine!" With one word, the Emperor Furnace rumbled and the fierce beasts inside suddenly screamed. Before they could self-destruct, ancient god power rushed through the furnace. The 20-plus dumbfound cultivators stared at the Emperor Furnace that suddenly shrank and disappeared between Wang Lin's eyebrows. All of this happened in a flash. Wang Lin had instantly taken away all the remaining fierce beasts, leaving none behind. Wang Lin turned around and his gaze swept past the people that were chasing after him. He saw powerful emotions from them, and with a step, he returned to this platform. He waved his sleeve and his powerful cultivation spread out, suppressing the area. The 20-plus cultivators all had hostile gazes, but they were all scared of Wang Lin's gaze, so none of them dared to act first. The girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan saw this opportunity and was about to step forward. But at this moment, Wang Lin's cold gaze landed on her. The girl's mind trembled and her face turned pale. Her footsteps stopped and she didn't dare to move at all. A moment later, the 20-plus cultivators all returned to their platforms and temporarily ignored this matter. However, their gazes toward Wang Lin were extremely hostile. Only the woman in white looked at Wang Lin with a look of admiration and nodded slightly at Wang Lin. Just at this moment, the platforms everyone were on trembled. After the brief pause, the platforms charged forward. The platforms were extremely fast and disappeared into the fog. These humanoid beasts are of great use for me to heal, so no one will steal them from me. As Wang Lin stood calmly on the platform, he revealed no emotions, but there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Powerful life force came from the Emperor Furnace and rushed into his body, helping his injuries recover. "It's time to show off my might." The illusory flame in his left eye began to burn brighter and brighter. There was an invisible force pulling these 25 platforms, and the platforms were moving at an incomprehensible speed. This speed was no slower than the full speed of a Heaven's Blight cultivator. The strange movement of the platform gave this ancient tomb a mysterious and unfathomable feeling. As Wang Lin stood on the platform, his float in the wind due to the speed of the platform. As the fog moved around his body, Wang Lin pondered. He had been observing his surroundings ever since he entered the Ancient Order tomb. Everything here was extremely strange. Before he had the situation figured out, Wang Lin didn't want to act carelessly. He wanted to see where the platform would lead him. As for the fog sea below him, it was boundless, and it was impossible to see how deep it was. However, Wang Lin had a feeling that deep within the fog sea, there was a pair of eyes staring at him and all the cultivators here. There should be a lot of cultivators that entered the Ancient Order tomb, but we were separated. Perhaps they are also being moved by the platforms like us. While he pondered, time slowly passed. Everything seemed to be replaced by the howl of the platform flying. A few hours later, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. There was still fog before him, but it was distorted. Before he could get a closer look, the platform charged into the distorted fog. The world before him changed and exclamations came from some of the shocked cultivators. What appeared before Wang Lin's group of 25 people was a tomb that had been sealed for tens of thousands of years that no one had entered before. This area was hundreds of feet large and was filled with spatial rifts. They formed a cage that sealed the area. Wang Lin's group's platforms came out of one of the spatial rifts. The world before them was shrouded in a red light. The sealed sky was red and the ground wasn't fog but real earth. There were rivers flowing on the earth, but the rivers were all blood red. The smell of blood rushed at them. At the center of this world there was a huge figure. It was an ancient god that was tens of thousands of feet tall. He was down on one knee, with a ferocious expression on his face and a big hole between his eyebrows. Blood seemed to continuously to flow out from that hole forever. The blood flowed down his face and dropped to the ground. His knee had collapsed, and one could see the already dark bones. It was obvious that he didn't want to kneel countless years ago, but had his knee broken so he had to kneel. He was down on one knee and his back was bent as he carried on it a 10,000-foot platform. The platform was blood red and was surrounded by blood mist, making it impossible to see inside. However, an oppressive restriction flashed from the mist as if it was sealing something. On the right side of the ancient god, there was a figure about 4,000 feet tall, kneeling there. This figure had one horn on its head and a ferocious expression. Its left eye was filled with madness and reluctance. The right eye was empty as if someone had dug it out. Blood was flowing out of the right eye socket. On the left side of the ancient god was a 3,000-foot ancient demon. It was also kneeling and its left eye was hollow. The right eye was filled with fear. The ancient god was holding the platform, while the ancient demon and ancient devil knelt there, as if they were worshipping the platform. This bizarre scene was really shocking. However, what caused the cultivators to exclaim were the dense figures on the earth beside the blood-like rivers. Their red eyes were all fixated on the uninvited guests that had suddenly appeared. Humanoid beasts, no less than tens of thousands of humanoid beasts filled the ground. Many were devouring the blood-like river and some were fighting. However, when Wang Lin's group entered, they all raised their heads. After a brief moment of silence, the beasts on the ground let out shocking roars. The roars of tens of thousands beasts formed a sound wave that swept the people above. The cultivators that didn't have high cultivation levels and were injured coughed out blood due to this sound blast. 2 people were directly thrown off their platforms and fell down. Before they could struggle, they were swarmed by hundreds of beasts. When the beasts dispersed, they were already torn apart. The fierce beasts on the ground jumped like crazy toward them. However, after experiencing the battle before, they were all aware of the benefits. Although shaken by the number, they weren't afraid to charge at the incoming fierce beasts. Devouring all these beasts should allow my injuries to recover completely. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he licked his lips. He had started late, so there was more than a dozen cultivators ahead of him. These cultivators' eyes all shined. They had made up their minds to not let Wang Lin monopolize all the beasts. Although there was a lot of them, the life force one could gain was very tempting. If that white-robed cultivator steals again, we should join forces to kill him. We have to let him know the consequences. The cultivators that had stolen a platform were all ruthless. They looked at each other and came to a tacit understanding. The extremely fat cultivator waved the abacus in his hand and said with a smile, "White-haired cultivator, you can't kill more than 10 beasts, or else don't blame this lord for being ruthless. I'll kill you and refine your soul. Kill 1 extra and you will die here. No one can save you." The thin cultivator in black said coldly as he moved forward. The man in purple with the fierce fish behind him roared, "Although fellow cultivator is powerful, if you anger us, you can just scram out of our group and face your death. If you don't scram, this lord will make your corpse scream." The grim voice of the old woman in green and covered in pus echoed. Fellow cultivator was far too reckless. The fortune here is for everyone to obtain. If you become too greedy, even this old body won't let it go. If you become too greedy, this old body will kill you. Even though you are powerful, you will still die if you don't become obedient. Although you are powerful, you really don't know how to act. To waste your cultivation like this is extremely stupid. Alas, a pity. There is such a greedy person in this world. Do you think you're a third-step cultivator? The middle-aged man with the white jug in his left hand shook his head. He took a drink and then charged at the fierce beasts. These words revealed killing intent. It was obvious that a majority of the cultivators were dissatisfied. In addition to those that spoke, the rest all revealed killing intent. They were ready to kill. When the girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan saw all of this, there was a flash of joy in her eyes. However, when she thought about how terrifying Wang Lin was, the joy disappeared. Wang Lin remained calm after hearing everyone's words, and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. There was a faint ethereal fire in his eyes. He let out a cold snort, and not only did he not back down, he moved even faster. Using his powerful cultivation, he moved like a meteor and passed all the cultivators before him as he charged at the murderous beasts charging at them. What guts! You dare! Arrogant! You're seeking death. Wang Lin's behavior infuriated the crowd. Killing intent surged from everyone, and some were already forming seals to launch spells. Wang Lin closed in on the tens of thousands beasts, but he didn't seem to use any spells. He waved his right hand and the world rumbled. The fierce beasts that had jumped into the air all let out miserable screams and fear filled their eyes. As their expressions distorted, their miserable screams became even more intense. In a flash, nearly 1,000 fierce beasts were surrounded by ethereal fire and were burned to death. Strands of white life force flew out of them and entered Wang Lin's body. The ethereal fire inside the dead beasts' bodies rushed out and spread like crazy. More beasts were burned by the ethereal fire, and a monstrous heat wave filled the world. Thunderous rumbles echoed as the beasts burned and turned into balls of fire, leaving behind only black ashes. Strands of white energy flooded the world and rushed into Wang Lin's body. The fire continued to spread, and a majority of the beasts became part of the sea of fire. All the endless life force rushed into Wang Lin's body. His origin soul was absorbing it all, and his injuries were recovering at an unimaginable speed. 1,000, 3,000, 8,000, 10,003. A large amount of life force entered Wang Lin's body in a flash. Even more fierce beasts were being burned by the ethereal fire. As the life force rushed into his body, Wang Lin's injuries completely recovered. As thunderous rumbles echoed, the fierce beasts continued to die. The endless ethereal fire came back to Wang Lin from all directions and returned to this left eye after the fierce beasts died. So simple, so amazing. Who was going to kill me? Wang Lin turned around and his cold gaze looked at the stunned cultivators behind him. In his left eye, a 9-colored ethereal fire was burning. Ethereal fire cultivator. It's an ethereal fire cultivator. How can this be? A rumored ethereal fire cultivator that rarely appears every tens of thousands of years. He is actually an ethereal fire cultivator. With a wave of his hand, tens of thousands beasts were killed in an instant. This kind of cultivation. I was actually going to try to kill him. A rumored ethereal fire cultivator had appeared in this sealed place with his unique fire. When the surrounding cultivators saw this, a huge wave was set off in their hearts. As Wang Lin's gaze swept by them, all of them quickly retreated hundreds of feet, their eyes filled with shock. Those that were speaking so arrogantly before instantly turned pale. Even the calm woman in white was shocked, and a mysterious light shined in her eyes. The only thing that echoed in everyone's ears were their pounding hearts. Wang Lin's indifferent gaze swept by the cultivators that retreated. There were intense fluctuations of emotions coming from them. As long as he ignited their emotions, he could deal great damage to them. However, the Ancient Order tomb was very dangerous, and until he figured this place out, he wouldn't kill all of them. What he wanted was to display his might. Some of the cultivators here were powerful. If he forced them into a corner and they teamed up, it wouldn't benefit Wang Lin. Wang Lin seldom killed if there were no benefits. His gaze was cold and the 9-colored fire rotated in his left eye. His white hair fluttered and he gave off a demonic aura. As his gaze swept by, anyone who made contact with Wang Lin's gaze turned pale. You said before that if I kill more than 10 beasts here, you will kill me and refine my soul? Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed at the fat cultivator holding the abacus. The cultivator's body trembled and even the fat on his body shook. He forced out a bitter smile and felt bitter in his heart. He didn't know Wang Lin was an ethereal fire cultivator. To refine the soul of an ethereal fire cultivator, this matter. Not even he himself believed he could do it. It was more likely that his flesh would be burnt clean before he could even begin to refine. Wang Lin's gaze gradually became colder as he stared at the fat cultivator. There was a hint of killing intent flashing in his eyes. The fat cultivator was covered in sweat and his heart was pounding. He faintly felt like there was a fire burning inside his body. His mouth was dry and he quickly waved his right hand, taking out a scale. He quickly handed it over and bitterly said, "This little one indeed said it, and I hope fellow cultivator can forgive me. This is what I obtained from the platform. I hope fellow cultivator can accept it as an apology." Wang Lin's right hand reached out and the scale landed on his hand. He looked at it a bit before pushing it away. Then his gaze moved from the fat cultivator and landed on another person. "You said that if I killed one extra beast I would die here. I'll give you the chance." Wang Lin's words were cold as he spoke. When the fat cultivator saw that Wang Lin was no longer targeting him, he felt relieved. However, the cultivator in black trembled, but his eyes remained closed as if he was blind. Right now he silently sat there, with his expression gloomy. A moment later, the cultivator in black clasped his hands at Wang Lin and waved his right hand. A black sword flew out toward Wang Lin. This sword was covered in devilish energy. The cultivator in black softly said, "I was reckless before. I hope fellow cultivator won't mind." Wang Lin took the sword and looked at the cultivator in black. Wang Lin found the cultivator in black very interesting. The emotion fluctuations coming from him weren't strong, but there seemed to be a mysterious power sealed between his eyebrows. He felt as if the seal would be released when he opened his eyes. Also, you who wanted me to scram from here. If I don't scram, you are going to make my corpse scram. Wang Lin wasn't this petty of a person, but since he was going to display his might, he was going to act arrogantly. If some of them were really blind, he wouldn't mind just killing them. The man in purple with the fish behind him was covered in sweat. He let out a bitter smile and clasped his hands. He didn't speak and took out the gourd-shaped treasure he had obtained on the platform and handed it over. A sentence that shouldn't have been said has cost me the first treasure I've obtained here, alas. The cultivator in purple felt remorse in his heart. Also, you, what a confident tone. If I'm not obedient, you were going to kill me. Wang Lin's gaze lit up and he looked at the old woman in green. Among the people here, the old woman in green was the most strange. Even now, Wang Lin hadn't been able to find out much about her. The most important part was that Wang Lin saw no emotions from this old woman, as if all her emotions were hidden deep inside her. The old woman in green stared at Wang Lin with a demonic gaze in her eyes. No one knew what she was thinking, and after a slight hesitation, Wang Lin charged forward. He was too fast and like a bolt of lightning, he appeared before the old woman. The expression of the old woman in green became heavy and she quickly retreated. Her hands formed a seal and origin energy appeared, causing the area to distort. Wang Lin approached in a flash and charged into the distorted area. He calmly raised his right hand and waved. A thunderous rumble echoed across the area. In a short period of time, many thunderous rumbles echoed and Wang Lin and the old woman's attacks collided dozens of times. The rumbles became even more intense, and the origin energy around him formed a storm that swept the area. The remaining people all retreated, and the old woman coughed out blood soon after. Her face became pale and she quickly retreated. Wang Lin's figure charged out from the storm, his white clothes dazzling, and his fingers formed a sword with which he pointed forward. A finger of time. The desolate door from the wind celestial realm appeared in Wang Lin's mind. The finger stirred up the world and an ancient aura filled this land. The ancient aura entered Wang Lin's fingers and shot at the old woman. The expression of the old woman changed greatly. Although she thought she had overestimated Wang Lin's strength, she didn't expect Wang Lin to be no weaker than a fifth heaven's blight cultivator, and his spells to be so shockingly powerful. Facing danger, she could no longer hide her spells. She stopped retreating and pointed at her temples. She then opened her mouth and spat out a mouthful of pink mist. When the pink mist spread out, a fragrance came with it. Wang Lin's vision blurred and illusions appeared before him. The old woman's figure became blurry and a series of shadows appeared behind her. Those shadows were all people Wang Lin was familiar with. Wang Lin wasn't the only one like this. Confusion had appeared in everyone else's eyes. The old woman became their close relatives, and it seemed like Wang Lin was actually killing their relatives. A sense of anger roared in their hearts. This is actually someone from one of the three great clans, the Sealing Phantom clan. The eyes of the girl from the Sealing Extermination clan narrowed and a hint of surprise arose in them. All of this happened in a flash. Seeing that the surrounding cultivators were being affected, Wang Lin's fingers collided with the pink mist. Thunderous rumbles shook this area and the pink mist was pushed back. It seemed to be unable to resist Wang Lin's finger and was pushed back by it. It dissipated under the power of time and allowed Wang Lin's finger to land between the old woman's eyebrows. The old woman's body trembled and she was thrown back, coughing out blood. The emotion she had hidden inside herself could no longer be hidden and ethereal fire erupted inside her. The mark between her eyebrows was destroyed and was replaced by the flickering image of the back of a woman. A miserable scream echoed inside the fire. The confusion disappeared from the surrounding cultivators and fear filled their eyes. Sealing Phantom spell. This old woman is from the Sealing Phantom clan. The Sealing Phantom clan, one of the three great clans. Wang Lin floated in the air. Aside from killing, he had attacked was because he wanted to see through the old woman's spells. Now that he knew the answer, he gave up on killing her. The ethereal fire rapidly dissipated around the old woman with a thought from Wang Lin. The fire retreated back into her body, forming a fire seed. It was like a restriction had been planted in her body. With the ethereal fire extinguished, the old woman's face was pale. She looked at Wang Lin with fear in her eyes. After a moment of silence, she took out the treasure she had obtained and handed it to Wang Lin. The remaining cultivators all trembled, took out the treasures they had obtained to offset the disrespectful things they had said. Even the girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan timidly took out the treasure she had obtained. Only the long-haired woman in white looked profoundly at Wang Lin and smiled. In a flash, the platform below her flew into the sky. There is a treasure inside this sealed land. Since you're interested, I'll leave. I believe that we will meet again here, inside this ancient order trum. The woman's voice gently floated into Wang Lin's ears as her figure disappeared into one of the spatial rifts. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed, but he didn't speak. The battle seemed to have ended here, and everyone's gazes couldn't help but look up at what was above the ancient god, ancient devil, and ancient demon. The 10,000-foot platform on the back of the ancient god was covered in red fog, and it seemed to be sealing something extremely powerful. Wang Lin also looked at the ancient god on the ground. However, just at this moment, his expression changed and he looked at the horizon. The world suddenly rumbled and all the cultivators here saw the change. The horizon distorted and 9 giant platforms rushed in. There are people here. That's good. Hand over the treasures you've obtained from the platforms and wait on the side. The voice was gloomy and a powerful pressure suddenly descended. The spatial rifts around the area seemed to be torn apart. The 9 large platforms didn't make any sound as they tore through the rifts and appeared here. There were 9 cultivators standing on the 9 platforms, all of them male. 7 of them were old men, while the remaining 2 looked to be around 40 years old. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. The smell of blood that rushed into this sealed land when they entered. Their 9 platform were almost completely dyed red and filled with blood. What was even more shocking was that there was a large amount of souls floating on the platforms. The souls all had twisted expressions and were letting out mournful cries. Not one of these 9 were weak. 5 of them were around the 4th heaven's blight and 2 at the 5th heaven's blight. One of the old men was extremely eye-catching as he had a head of blood-red hair. There was also a faint joss flame coming from him. He was clearly someone who was half a step into the 3rd step. However, it was obvious he had received a lot of external help to get this far. And without a large amount of joss flames, he wouldn't finish the last step. His body emitted a sense of majesty, clearly showing that he had a high status and would normally not appear before people. The last person was a middle-aged scholar holding a feather fan. His eyes narrowed and there was a flash of light within them. He was only at the 3rd heaven's blight, so holding a spot here meant that there was something extraordinary about him. What shocked everyone the most were the platforms under their feet. The platforms were almost all 10,000 feet wide, but the one under the old man who was half a step into the 3rd step was 20,000 feet wide, twice the size of the other platforms. Not even a second-order platform, yet they want to covet the treasures here. The old man who was half a step into the 3rd step calmly looked at Wang Lin's group. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he stared at the platform under the old man, but he remained silent. The surrounding cultivators were all silent as they had obviously noticed how strong Wang Lin was. They began to gather together with Wang Lin in the lead. The old man's gaze landed on Wang Lin. Not only him, but all 8 remaining cultivators looked over with killing intent. It seemed a bloody battle was about to erupt. However, just at this moment, the middle-aged scholar at the 3rd heaven's blight stepped forward and whispered something in the old man's ear. The old man's eyes narrowed and he looked at the ground and at the platform on the back of the ancient god. Then his gaze swept by Wang Lin's group. "You come here." The old man pointed at one of the cultivators beside Wang Lin. He was someone who had managed to steal a platform, and after being pointed by the old man, his face turned pale. After hesitating, he didn't dare not come out. He stepped out and clasped his hands at the old man. He then respectfully said, "Junior, greet esteemed Ling Dong." "Oh, you recognize this old man?" There was no anger on the old man's face. The cultivator quickly said, "The name of esteemed Ling Dong is famous in my ancient star system, so of course Junior knows. Go break the seal on the back of the ancient god. If you can break 10% of it, I'll let you live," the old man slowly said, but his words were filled with power and were impossible to reject. The cultivator's expression immediately changed, making it seem like he was struggling. After a moment he nodded and took a deep breath. His hand formed a seal and he began casting a spell as he charged at the platform on the back of the ancient god. In a flash, the cultivator arrived before the ancient god and looked at the platform filled with red fog. After a long time he clenched his teeth, his right hand formed a seal, and a shadow appeared. The shadow formed a right hand, and it immediately hit the fog. The fog roared and instantly turned into a big mouth. It moved at an unimaginable speed toward the cultivator to devour him. There was no chance to dodge at all and a miserable scream echoed. The cultivator was devoured and dragged into the fog. Screams continued to echo, shocking everyone. It is indeed a Tao spirit. I just don't know what rank. The old man who was half a step into the third step was filled with joy. He took a step and arrived next to the red fog. He waved his right hand at the fog. Just as his hand was about to land, a roar came from the fog once more. The fog churned violently, formed a devilish shadow, and blew out some red fog. The red fog was extremely fast, and it charged toward the old man. They collided with a thunderous bang and the old man's face suddenly changed. He immediately retreated hundreds of feet before he stopped. At least rank 6. Unfortunately, there is a restriction on it. It is the ancient soul restriction. The third heaven's blight middle-aged scholar's eyes lit up. When he spoke, another middle-aged man among the remaining 7 narrowed his eyes as if he had spotted some clues. Esteemed Ling Dong looked at the red fog on the platform and said, "Ancient soul restriction. This old man doesn't know much about restrictions. How confident are you in breaking it?" The middle-aged scholar hesitated a bit and said, "Well, only 20%. Esteemed Ling Dong frowned. 20%. Wang Lin still calmly watched all of this unfold. He had already noticed the restriction on the red fog ever since he arrived. This restriction was indeed the ancient soul restriction, but it had other restrictions mixed in as well. It was not easy to break. He remained silent and wanted to see how these 9 people would break it. Just as esteemed Ling Dong frowned and was pondering, an old man in green walked forward. He clasped his hands and said, "Esteemed Ling Dong, I'm a bit confident in breaking this restriction. It's just that after breaking it..." He didn't finish speaking and looked at esteemed Ling Dong. Esteemed Ling Dong said, "If you can break the restriction, you can have any other treasures beside the Tao spirit. Also, you can take most of the treasure these little cultivators got from the platforms." The eyes of the old man in green overflowed with ecstasy and he said, "Rest assured, this old man has been studying restriction since childhood. Others may not say it, but there is no restriction this old man can't break. Even fellow cultivator Xiao Jing is not my match." His gaze swept by the middle-aged scholar. The scholar revealed a smile and clasped his hands. "What Senior Gao said is correct. I'm only a latecomer compared to Senior." The old man in green laughed and proudly said, "Restrictions are the origin of formations. This old man has studied them for nearly 10,000 years and has seen the grand path. I have developed a method that can break all restrictions. Also, the restriction inside the fog is not some ancient soul restriction. This old man has delved into restrictions and has never heard of ancient soul restrictions." After he spoke, he charged at the red fog. When he was within a few dozen feet of it, his right hand formed a seal and then he waved it, causing restriction lights to flash. An instant later, a giant rune appeared. This rune was formed by restrictions and it shined brightly. Its momentum seemed to be able to confront the red fog, and the roars coming from within the red fog stopped. It was as if there was a gust of wind, and the red fog retreated a bit. The old man became even more proud as he pointed forward with a roar. The rune charged at the red fog. "This old man..." As the old man roared, the rune charged at the red fog. However, before he could finish speaking, the red fog turned into a big mouth once more. It moved extremely fast and devoured the rune along with the old man in green. His unfinished words became a miserable scream and echoed across the world. Esteemed Ling Dong's face turned black. He didn't think that the old man who had gone in filled with confidence would only bring a result like this. A giggle came from a cultivator beside Wang Lin. This giggle came from the fat cultivator. His laughter immediately caught esteemed Ling Dong's gaze. The fat cultivator quickly took a few steps forward past Wang Lin, and he clasped his hands at esteemed Ling Dong. His face was filled with a smile. Ash said, "Junior Sufu greets esteemed Ling Dong. This junior is a bit confident in breaking open the restriction. Junior has no connection to the people here. We just happen to be sent here together. Junior also has a secret to tell Senior. Among this group of people here, one of them is an ethereal. If you can break the restriction on this fog, I'll let you live, give you treasures and let you follow me." Esteemed Ling Dong interrupted the fat cultivator's words. He was not interested in the secret. All he wanted was the Tao spirit inside. "Rest assured, I have observed the red fog for a long time. Although I'm not 100% confident in breaking it, with Senior's help, I'm 70% confident." The fat cultivator was happy and turned around to coldly look at Wang Lin. He sneered with the corner of his mouth and charged at the red fog. He stopped 100 feet away from the fog and was filled with caution. His hand quickly worked the abacus and then the abacus broke. The beads flew out and turned into a restriction vortex. Then the fat cultivator took a deep breath and charged at the red fog. Courting death. Wang Lin looked at him calmly and sneered in his heart. He then looked up at the middle-aged scholar with the feather fan and saw a look of disdain. Although this person is only at the third heaven's blight, to be able to mix with these people means he is very cunning. Perhaps he also wants what's inside the fog. Wang Lin's mind was like a demon's, and a restriction silently appeared under his foot. The fat cultivator's hand quickly formed seal and the abacus beads rotated rapidly around him. As he waved his hand, the beads formed a strange figure before him. This figure looked like the remnants of a chessboard. The beads were like chess pieces on a board. His face became extremely serious and he began to chant. As he did so, his right hand formed a seal. In an instant, the chessboard-like beads charged at the red fog. The chessboard closed in on the red fog in a flash, and roars came from inside the fog. A portion of the fog rushed out and attempted to devour the chessboard. A thunderous bang echoed, and just as the red fog was about to devour it, 5 colored lights shined from the chessboard. An illusory figure also appeared. It formed seals and its palms slammed at the red fog. An invisible force appeared and pushed the red fog back. The chessboard was not devoured. Looking at this, the surrounding cultivators all narrowed their eyes. There was a hint of joy in the eyes of esteemed Ling Dong. Only the middle-aged scholar revealed a look of disdain. The fat cultivator was filled with pride, and he raised his right hand. The chessboard closed in on the red fog, with the illusory figure around it. Wang Lin calmly looked at all of this unfold, and his eyes lit up. The fat cultivator's method had some merit. The abacus was an extraordinary treasure. Each bead inside contained a lot of restrictions, and when combined, they could create wonderful effects. If it was an ordinary restriction, he might have had a chance, but these small tricks couldn't break open the red fog. The restrictions inside the red fog were extremely complex. Not only did the fog contain the ancient soul restriction, there was also the time restriction mixed in. The combination of the two was extremely powerful. The chessboard got close to the red fog and immediately disappeared inside. Then a violent roar came from the fog. Just as everyone looked closely, the expression of the fat cultivator changed. His face turned pale and he coughed out blood. It was clear that his treasure had been destroyed. It was connected to his origin soul, and that connection had been cut by force. He immediately tried to retreat, but after retreating only 2 steps, the red fog surged like crazy and extended forth, covering the sky. It then dragged the fat cultivator inside. His miserable screams were ear-piercing, and they echoed across the area. The sounds of bone cracking shook everyone's hearts. Esteemed Ling Dong was gloomy. If there was no way to break it, he would have to break it open by force. However, doing so would cause great damage to the Tao spirit inside. If it was like this, it won't be worth it even if he opened the restriction. Since this old man can't open it, then no one else can have it. Might as well open it by force and destroy it. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes and he was about to step forth. However, just at this moment, the middle-aged scholar holding the fan clasped his hands and said, "Esteemed Ling Dong, before trying to open it by force, let me try. Even if I can't open it completely, I might still break a part of it. Then perhaps when esteemed Ling Dong breaks it by force, the damage on the Tao spirit will be less. Esteemed Lingdong turned around and looked at the middle-aged scholar. He pondered a bit and then nodded. You have to be careful. The middle-aged scholar nodded with a smile. He knocked the fan in his hand and slowly walked toward the fog. Wang Lin's expression was calm, but he began to pay attention. More and more restrictions formed below his feet without anyone noticing. The middle-aged scholar approached the fog. After a while, his right hand formed seals as if he was calculating something. There was flash of deduction in his eyes. A moment later, his right hand moved forward, forming afterimages, and landed on the red fog. Roars came from the red fog. As the roars echoed, the red fog formed a hand that shot toward the middle-aged scholar. However, he acted like it didn't exist. He formed another seal and pointed forward. Thunderous rumble echoed. It was unknown where the middle-aged scholar had pointed. The red fog trembled and collapsed before reaching him. This scene caused esteemed Lingdong's eyes to light up. Lingdong narrowed his eyes. This middle-aged scholar indeed had some skills, and his skills and restriction was far above the people before him. Sweat appeared on the middle-aged scholar's forehead, but his expression was calm. In a flash, he moved like a dragon and circled the red fog. His hand didn't stop moving, continuing to form seals as he pointed at the red fog. The roars from inside the fog became even more violent. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he sneered. Although the middle-aged man had hidden himself very well and acted like he was breaking the restriction, Wang Lin had seen through his true intent. Just at this moment, the middle-aged scholar suddenly roared. His body stopped moving and his hands mercilessly pressed down on the red fog. Esteemed Lingdong, please help me. Use the power of Joss flames and I can break half of the restriction. His voice sounded urgent, and esteemed Lingdong seemed to trust the middle-aged scholar a lot. He didn't hesitate at all to step forward. Then he raised his right hand and Joss flame energy gathered in his palm. It condensed in his hand in an instant and then he slammed down on the red fog. A palm print made of Joss flame shot out and rapidly closed in on the red fog. It landed on the red fog almost at the same time as the middle-aged scholar's hands. A thunderous rumble echoed and a portion of the red fog dissipated. However, just as a hint of joy appeared on esteemed Lingdong's face, the red fog raged and immediately turned into a mouth that devoured the pale middle-aged scholar. Miserable screams echoed inside the fog, and at this moment, the red fog devoured esteemed Lingdong's Joss flame palm print. A destructive roar erupted from inside and echoed violently like thunder. This caused the sealed area to shake violently. At this instant, that destructive aura suddenly erupted in the form of a storm that could destroy the world. This storm was formed by red fog and moved far too fast. This caused the world to begin to collapse. Some cultivators were too slow and their bodies immediately collapsed. Esteemed Lingdong's expression changed. Even he felt danger coming from the storm. He retreated without hesitation and landed on the 20,000-foot platform. He then waved his hand and shot into the sky. Not only him but everyone else also retreated. Some were slow and were devoured by the red fog. Wang Lin retreated the fastest, even faster than esteemed Lingdong. At almost the same instant the middle-aged scholar was devoured. The restrictions he had gathered under his feet shot toward the earth. Then he charged into the sky without any hesitation. The red storm was like a tide, and its destructive aura tore the sky. Everyone began to frantically escape and rushed into the spatial rift in the sky. Everyone dissipated and more than 10 people were devoured by the red storm, including Wang Lin. Less than 11 people escaped into the spatial rifts. The red fog now filled the entire world, leaving no gap. After a long time, the fog began to churn and slowly retreated back onto the platform on the ancient god's back. The sky was now dark red and the spatial rifts were all gone completely, sealing the entrance to this place. The roars from the fog gradually disappeared and the surroundings became completely silent. Time slowly passed. After half an hour, a person slowly walked out of the fog. This person was the middle-aged scholar that everyone thought had died. He revealed a sinister smile containing a hint of pride in the corner of his mouth. So what if he is esteemed Lingdong? No one can take treasures I take fancy to. Just a small trick and everyone was forced out. Now the Tao spirit inside belongs to me. As he laughed like crazy, the pride on his face intensified. He looked at the fog with greed in his eyes. He then licked his lips and waved his hand. 9 pieces of jade appeared in his hand. Ancient soul restriction, time restriction. Although I can't break them open, I can make them stop working for 20 seconds. The middle-aged scholar waved his right hand and the 9 pieces of jade gave off a ghostly light. They formed a circle and shot toward the red fog. The roars became even more violent, but after a moment, the roars stopped due to the ghostly light from the jades. The middle-aged man stepped into the circle formed by the jades, and then his hand ripped an opening inside the restrictions that had stopped. His eyes were filled with greed and he was about to step into the crack he had torn open. However, just at this moment, a miserable scream echoed inside the world. Impossible, there is still an active restriction. I should have stopped all restrictions. The middle-aged man quickly retreated back out. His face was bloody and his body was rapidly decaying. In the blink of an eye, after only retreating 30 feet, he rotted into a corpse. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye 20 seconds went by. The ghostly light from the jades quickly dissipated and the red fog showed signs of activity again. Soon it was active once more. 15 minutes quickly passed by and the corpse opened his eyes. His appearance quickly changed back to the middle-aged scholar. It looks like no one can sneak into this place. The middle-aged scholar's eyes lit up and he walked toward the red fog. Looking at the red mist, the middle-aged scholar smiled. He was born cautious and was as cunning as a fox. In the ancient star system he was called the Sly Fox. Although he was only at the 3rd heaven's blight, he always believed his schemes could make up for it. This was indeed true. Many times he relied on his schemes to walk between life and death, only to come out as the winner. This time he was scheming to acquire a treasure esteemed Ling Dong wanted, so he had to be even more careful. He still wasn't confident after faking his death once, so he had used the jade to stop the restriction from moving. This was equal to opening the door into the fog, and then he faced his own death once more. If there was someone else like him here, they wouldn't give up this chance and would have rushed out already. Once someone actually appeared and entered the fog, he would immediately launch a counterattack and trap that person inside the fog. This person was also very confident in his fake deaths. Early in his years, he learned a spell that would allow his death to look very real. Even his origin soul would collapse, and it would be impossible for others to tell the difference. In addition, he had made it look like he was rotting. Now that the middle-aged scholar was certain, he walked up to the red fog and waved his hand. The red fog was pushed back, revealing the 9 jades. He pointed at the jades, causing 6 of them to collapse, and black gas came out, this gas causing the red fog to freeze once more. Among the 9 jades, 6 of them were used to kill and had nothing to do with stopping the restriction. There was a hint of pride on his face as the middle-aged scholar walked into the portal formed by the 3 jades. He put all his heart into what he was doing and began to calculate. Then his right hand pulled at the red fog before him and he slowly ripped it open. Shortly after, a few layers of fog were peeled by him. The middle-aged scholar was filled with excitement and he raised his hand once more. As soon as his finger touched the fog, the corner of his mouth moved and he unconsciously revealed an extremely bizarre smile. The moment the smile appeared, his expression suddenly changed. He quickly retreated while his right hand swiped over his face and his eyes filled with terror. However, the strange smile was still on his face, making a clear contrast with the fear in his eyes. Impossible! Impossible! The middle-aged man's body trembled and the fear in his eyes reached a limit. He frantically raised his hand and squeezed his face to get rid of that smile. However, no matter how hard he tried, the smile was still there, and it became even stronger. Blood came out of his mouth, but he didn't seem to notice. He continued to rub his face, but it was no use. How can this be? The middle-aged man's mournful cry echoed, but it came through that strange smile. He gradually lost control and began to laugh out loud. However, the fear in his eyes was drowning him like a tide. Don't laugh, don't laugh. As he laughed, he quickly retreated. However, he only retreated a few dozen feet before his body trembled, and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. Then his eyes turned pale and he soon fell to the earth. The strange smile was still on his face as he looked at the sky. His origin soul also had that same smile and he died. Life and death restriction. There was a flash of light on the ground and Wang Lin walked out. Others couldn't understand the restrictions the middle-aged scholar had shot out while moving around the red fog. Even grandmasters of restrictions would find it difficult to find any clues. If not for the fact that Wang Lin knew 3 of the 4 great restrictions and was a grandmaster, he wouldn't have noticed the problem. The restrictions the middle-aged man had sent out at the start would indeed break the restriction, but when the countless restrictions combined, the opposite would happen. Not only would it not break the red fog, it would stimulate it to activate it. Then he had borrowed esteemed Ling Dong's Joss flame to trigger the red fog, causing it to erupt with several times more power than before to kill or drive everyone away. In order to avoid suspicion, he had taken the risk and used some known method to hide in the fog. He had let out that miserable smile and made everyone think he had died. He had successfully killed most of the people here and had even driven the rest out. He had also caused the red fog to seal all the spatial rifts so others couldn't enter through them anymore. After all his scheming, he was the only one here. Doing all of this took guts. Wang Lin looked at the body with a strange smile and waved his right hand. The body collapsed into dust and dissipated. This way, even if you're cheating, there is no chance of you resurrecting. He had long seen through the middle-aged scholar, so he had left a restriction to teleport back here. With his mastery over restrictions, he was not afraid the middle-aged man would find his restrictions, given the middle-aged man's cultivation level. After going through a rift in the sky, Wang Lin had teleported back using the restriction. He didn't kill the middle-aged man, but the middle-aged man hadn't noticed that aside from the ancient soul restriction and the time restriction, the life and death restriction was also present within the fog. As for the middle-aged scholar faking his death, Wang Lin naturally saw this, but it was useless before him. Wang Lin arrived next to the red fog. This simple restriction had taken so many lives. He had once more experienced the cruelty of the cultivation world. Looking at the 3 jades that were stopping the red fog, Wang Lin slowly walked inside. He stood where the middle-aged man was and deduction light flashed in his eyes. It indeed is the life and death restriction. After a moment, Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed forward. Popping sounds echoed and the fog before him began moving again, forming a vortex. A faint black line appeared inside the red fog. The black line entangled with the red fog was quite distinct. The key to breaking the life and death restriction was finding the path to life within death. If one could find it and extract the life, the restriction could be broken. However, for people who didn't know the life and death restriction, it was impossible to find it. After observing for a while, Wang Lin's hand quickly formed seals and a restriction appeared in his hand. He took a deep breath and carefully pushed the restriction toward the red fog vortex. Popping sounds echoed and the fog seemed to absorb Wang Lin's restriction. The black line became even more clear. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and without hesitation, his right hand reached out. He grabbed the black line and pulled it out. The black line was completely pulled out by Wang Lin like a snake. Then it dissipated. At this moment, the red fog collapsed like hot water being poured on snow. Large amounts of fog dissipated, creating a passage that led to the center of the platform. Wang Lin's eyes flashed but quickly returned to normal and revealed nothing. A burst of joy had appeared, but it was quickly suppressed by him. He was about to rush into the passage. Stop! Just as Wang Lin was about to charge in, a cold voice appeared in this world. Now this is what they call mantis hunting the cicada, and the yellow finch follows. As the voice echoed, a vague figure appeared in the sky. When the figure became clear, it was esteemed Ling Dong, who was half a step into the 3rd step. After he appeared, the 20,000-foot platform appeared as well. At this moment, there was no emotion on his face, and his expression no longer contained that sense of stupidity. There was now a hint of mockery in his eyes. Wang Lin stopped and slowly turned around. His expression was extremely ugly as he looked at esteemed Ling Dong. He let out a bitter smile and panic appeared in his eyes. Junior, greets esteemed Ling Dong. Wang Lin clasped his hands and was about to take a step back. Esteemed Ling Dong said with a grim expression, when your foot lands, this old man will kill you. Esteemed Ling Dong's plan was flawless and well hidden. Junior admires you. Wang Lin stopped moving and his face turned bitter. He suppressed the panic in his eyes. This old man already knew Xiao Jing's ambition. A mere junior thinking he can fool this old man, simply ridiculous. Although this old man is not good with restrictions, since the two of you excel at it and have opened it for me, then it cost this old man no effort. Esteemed Ling Dong sneered. Wang Lin's subtle actions had made him even more certain, and he said, "Come out and wait on the side." A natural-born Tao spirit needed to be offered a complete soul that hadn't been soul-searched. As far as esteemed Ling Dong was concerned, Wang Lin couldn't cause a commotion and couldn't escape his palm. He was going to let Wang Lin live and use Wang Lin as an offering to the Tao spirit. Wang Lin's face was deathly pale. He seemed to hesitate, but a moment later, he let out a sigh and slowly walked out. The moment he walked out, esteemed Ling Dong waved his right hand and a powerful force formed a bubble around Wang Lin, trapping him inside. He didn't even look at Wang Lin, as he was very confident in his own methods. He stepped into the fog and looked like he was going to rush into the passage. Just as he was about to enter, he suddenly looked at Wang Lin with a gaze like lightning. Wang Lin's expression was still bitter without any change. Although esteemed Ling Dong's gaze was sudden, he didn't see anything. "This old man changes his mind, you go in first." Wang Lin was startled. Before joy could appear in his eyes, he quickly suppressed it, but the old man still caught it. The old man laughed and walked in without any hesitation, no longer paying any attention to Wang Lin. He moved like a bolt of lightning and arrived at the center of the passage. However, at this moment, a miserable scream echoed. "There is still something left." Wang Lin suddenly looked up with a flash of killing intent in his eyes. When Wang Lin saw that the restriction was activated, he waved his right hand and the blood sword appeared. Bloodlight flashed inside the bubble and slashed forward. The bubble collapsed and Wang Lin took a step out. He already knew there was a problem with the red fog. Even if esteemed Ling Dong had made him go first, Wang Lin had a way to defuse the danger and launch an ambush. Wang Lin rushed into the passage. Inside the passage, esteemed Ling Dong coughed out blood and quickly retreated. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes and the blood sword shot forward. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Esteemed Ling Dong waved his hand, but he didn't expect the blood sword to be so powerful. Penetrated his right arm. He let out a muffled groan and he couldn't help but pause. Wang Lin didn't hesitate. He knew that this person was half a step into the third step. If he was going to kill him, he had to be decisive. After the blood sword shot out, the thunder tattoo in his right eye appeared. The 9 accompanying thunders rotated around it, and it shot into the fog toward esteemed Ling Dong. Thunder essence. Esteemed Ling Dong had been seriously injured by the restriction, and then was injured by the blood sword. Now he was being blocked by the thunder tattoo, and his eyes were filled with shock. The thunder tattoo was too fast and they were too close, so it closed in a flash. Esteemed Ling Dong's face was pale and he waved his hand. His little remaining Joss flames appeared, forming a giant statue before him. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the thunder tattoo landed on the statue. The statue was completely black and had its arm folded. The violent thunder force surged like crazy, causing cracks to appear on the statue before it suddenly collapsed. The thunder tattoo was knocked back into Wang Lin's eye and esteemed Ling Dong coughed out blood. He closed in with a ferocious expression and he was about to charge out of the fog. There was a roar from the fog as if something was charging out. Within the depths of the passage, a red Qilin-like beast was rushing out. "It's a rank 4 fire Tao spirit." Esteemed Ling Dong's mind was shaking, but he didn't have time to think about it. Before him was Wang Lin and behind him was the raging rank 4 Tao spirit. He had no time to refine the Tao spirit, especially as it was rank 4. More importantly, the restriction was showing signs of awakening. If he couldn't get out in a short period of time, he would be trapped inside and it would be very dangerous. He had fallen for Wang Lin's trap inside the passage and a strange restriction had entered his origin soul. He suppressed it at first, but the blood sword had caused it to loosen. Then the thunder essence caused his suppression to collapse completely, and the restriction erupted inside his body. Esteemed Ling Dong hadn't faced this kind of life and death situation in tens of thousands of years. He had never expected himself to end up in such a miserable state in the hands of a junior. However, he was someone who was half a step into the third step. Although it was dangerous, he decisively gave up the Tao spirit and charged toward Wang Lin. His eyes revealed monstrous killing intent, and he hated Wang Lin to the bone. Do you really think you can trap this old man? Once I leave, I'll refine your soul. With a roar, esteemed Ling Dong moved at an indescribable speed and was almost out of the fog. But how could Wang Lin let him escape? After using the thunder tattoo, the 9-colored fire in his left eye began to roar. The 9-colored fire formed a firestorm and shot toward esteemed Ling Dong. There is also a fire essence. Who the hell are you? Esteemed Ling Dong's hand formed a seal, and he coughed out a mouthful of origin energy that turned into a mountain and ocean painting. The painting had a boundless ocean, and as the fire was about to collide with the mountain, esteemed Ling Dong roared, "Tsunami!" As his voice echoed, the ocean inside the painting rushed out like crazy, forming a monstrous wave that rushed toward the 9-colored firestorm. Thunderous rumbles echoed and large amount of white gas shot into the air. Wang Lin's 9-colored firestorm collapsed, and the 9-colored fire was pushed back. The entire ocean had evaporated, leaving only the mountain. Wang Lin coughed out blood and was pushed back several steps, but his expression was ferocious and there was a hint of madness hidden within. He could not let this person leave. He was going to kill a powerful cultivator half a step into the 3rd step. Mountain spirit. Esteemed Ling Dong was less than 30 feet from leaving the fog, and he ignored the fire Dao spirit behind him. He waved his right hand and the mountain charged at Wang Lin. Back off. Esteemed Ling Dong's voice shook the world. Fire burned in Wang Lin's left eye and thunder flashed in his right eye. They rushed out and formed a bolt of burning thunder between his eyebrows. It shot out at the meteor-like mountain. Power of heavenly thunder. All thunder gather for me. Power of heavenly fire. All fire gather for me. Fire and thunder essences, fuse and break all spells for me. When the thunder and fire meteor shot out at the mountain, a thunderous rumble echoed. Then a boundless force that seemed like it would tear the world apart scattered. The mountain suddenly collapsed and esteemed Ling Dong's eyes filled with disbelief. He was blocked by this impact. Wang Lin didn't retreat and forced himself to stay still. He then raised his right hand and pointed at esteemed Ling Dong inside the fog. Ethereal fire burn. Ethereal fire suddenly appeared inside the shocked esteemed Ling Dong's body. The fire came too quickly, so he wasn't prepared at all when it began burning. Esteemed Ling Dong let out a miserable scream as the fire filled his body. He coughed out blood, but it immediately evaporated. Intense pain came from his body and the restriction inside his origin soul erupted, making his injuries even worse. Ethereal fire cultivator. Damned ethereal fire cultivator. Esteemed Ling Dong roared as he withstood the pain of his body burning and struggled to step forward. He was less than 20 feet from leaving the fog. As he stepped forward, his hand suddenly tore at the space before him and he roared, "Open the great devil Ling Dong realm. I use myself as Joss Flame to summon my Ling Dong clan's devil god." In an instant, a giant spatial rift appeared before him and endless devilish energy rushed out. Just as the rift appeared, Wang Lin took out the ancient leaf and was about to seal it. However, just at this moment, a second ancient leaf appeared from esteemed Ling Dong's hand. The two leaves collided and rolled off to the side. Without the ancient leaf, a giant black statue came out of the rift. This statue was the same as the one esteemed Ling Dong had summoned before, only even more realistic. It had its arm folded, and the moment it appeared, its arms began to tremble. The arms that were folded suddenly loosened and a powerful destructive force rushed out toward Wang Lin. This destructive force made Wang Lin feel danger, and he even felt like his ancient god body was about to be torn apart. Facing danger, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to raise his right hand, and the ancient god gauntlet appeared in his hand. Ancient blessing. In a flash, the shadow of the giant ancient god appeared before Wang Lin. The body filled with scars blocked the attack with his back. His arms were holding Wang Lin. The destructive force hit the ancient god's shadow. The ancient god remained unmoving as it blocked this destructive force. Its giant body suddenly turned and his hand formed a fist. The fist moved like a meteor. Although it was the second time Wang Lin had seen it, the grace and warmth still shook him. The punch landed directly on the giant statue and shattered it to pieces. The fragments of the statue were pushed back and, along with the remaining power of the punch, landed on esteemed Ling Dong, who had just stepped out from the fog. Thunderous rumbles echoed and esteemed Ling Dong coughed out several mouthfuls of blood before being knocked back into the fog. The ancient god disappeared. Wang Lin knew that esteemed Ling Dong was already injured to a certain extent, so he no longer hesitated. His left hand formed a seal and he reached out. The 3 jade that had been freezing the fog gave off a ghostly light and were pulled out by Wang Lin. When the jades flew out, the red fog recovered. The red fog moved like crazy and the hole was about to fix itself. No! Esteemed Ling Dong rushed out once more while the rank 4 Dao spirit closed in. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes as he raised his right hand and pointed at esteemed Ling Dong, who was half devoured by the fog. Stop! The stop spell had to be used at the most critical moment and couldn't be used too early, or else the target would guard against it. It had to succeed in one use. Therefore, it could be considered an unexpected killing move. The stop spell had accompanied Wang Lin for more than 1,000 years, and it had been used to great effect every time. Esteemed Ling Dong was seriously injured and was on the verge of dying. Now his body trembled as the red fog roared and fixed the hole. It also devoured esteemed Ling Dong. To use the smallest price in exchange for the greatest reward, that was Wang Lin's principle for fighting. If he had taken the jade before esteemed Ling Dong was more injured, esteemed Ling Dong might have broken free. The stop spell was the same, so Wang Lin had to fight and cause esteemed Ling Dong to reach the limit of his injury. At the most critical moment he was going to take the jade and use the stop spell to land the fatal blow. Wang Lin quickly formed seals and restrictions landed on the red fog. Roars came from the fog for a long time before it gradually calmed down. I'm not afraid of restrictions, but for the Dao spirit to be sealed inside, then it must be extremely powerful. I'll let them fight, and that will benefit me the most. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. This was all part of his plan. If esteemed Ling Dong wasn't seriously injured, the Dao spirit might not have been his match and it would inevitably be damaged. However, right now this was very suitable for Wang Lin's plan. The thunder in Wang Lin's right eye flew out and the thunder tattoo came with it. It floated above the red fog, and bolts of thunder descended, forming a net. Fire rushed out from his left eye and formed a sea of fire that burned the red fog. It fused with the thunder and became a blockade. After doing this, Wang Lin pointed to between his eyebrows and his ancient god stars rotated. The Emperor Furnace appeared and surrounded the fog. Wang Lin's hands formed a seal and he sent out a restriction. Then the Emperor Furnace began refining. Looking at the fog, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The Emperor Furnace was a royal ancient god weapon, and aside from its powerful defense, it was used to refine. Not to refine pills or treasures, but to refine ancient slaves. After doing this, Wang Lin no longer looked at the fog but walked toward the 2 leaves that had sealed each other. With a wave of his right hand, the 2 leaves flew at him. I didn't expect esteemed Ling Dong to also possess an ancient leaf. I just don't know where he got it from. Wang Lin separated the 2 leaves. Holding the one that belonged to esteemed Ling Dong, high divine sense swept through it along with ancient god power to wipe the divine sense from it. After all, it was a treasure of the ancient order, so outsiders couldn't truly control it. After leaving his ancient god aura on the leaf, Wang Lin carefully put them away. This treasure had great use to him. In some cases, it could be compared to the stop spell. Wang Lin's gaze swept by and he looked at the 2,000-foot dark red platform. In a flash, he appeared on the platform. Before, esteemed Ling Dong said, "Second rank platform." He must have meant this. I just don't know what use this has. Wang Lin frowned as he knelt down and began examining it. A moment later, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he saw some clues. The surface of the platform had many lines under the dark red blood. Wang Lin immediately figured everything out at a glance. They were the numbers that appeared between the cultivator's eyebrows. When they were fighting for the platforms, even when the cultivators died, the numbers didn't dissipate. Instead, they turned into runes and floated there. When he first saw this, he didn't realize the secret, but now that he had examined the platform, he understood everything. Those number runes can allow the platform to upgrade, Wang Lin murmured as he looked down. There were 589 marks on the platform. More than 10 cultivators had died here, and although they were dead, their number runes were floating there. Even the red storm didn't destroy the runes, and since esteemed Ling Dong and the middle-aged scholar were anxious for the treasure, they didn't find time to collect them. There was a flash of light in Wang Lin's eyes and he waved his sleeve. Those runes flew toward him and, after looking at them, he placed them on the platform beneath him. The runes landed on the platform and soon fused with it. After the 11th rune fused, the platform shook violently. Endless dust came from all directions and merged with the platform. The platform seemed to grow a full circle. The dust seemed to be piercing the void and then endlessly fusing with the platform. The platform gradually grew larger and larger. 23,000 feet, 25,000 feet, 28,000 feet, until it was 30,000 feet before it stopped shaking. Its color was no longer dark red but purple. At a glance it was like a small continent. What amazed Wang Lin was not the platform growing but how it seemed have to gain life. The moment it became a 30,000-foot platform, an aura entered Wang Lin through his feet. Memories appeared in Wang Lin's mind, and before he could react, they became a part of him. Wang Lin closed his eyes and a map immediately appeared before him. This map was very large, but most of it was covered by black fog. Only 3 places were not shrouded by black fog, and these 3 places took up 30% of the map. After taking a careful look, Wang Lin found where he was. This place was called the Land of Fire, and in the 3 areas that were open in the map, there were 3 places like this. He also saw a route that led into the depths of the ancient tomb. His mind trembled and after a long time he opened his eyes. When he opened his eyes he was startled. Right now, countless rifts still remained in this sealed land. These rifts were like wounds that opened and closed. It was extremely strange. His eyes narrowed and he took a step forward, leaving the platform. Just as he left, the rifts he could see disappeared. They were erased from his vision. When he retreated back to the platform, those rifts appeared in his eyes once more. This platform is strange. Wang Lin pondered a bit but couldn't think of a reason. He vaguely had an idea that in this ancient order tomb the platforms were everything. The platform should have reached the 3rd rank. If I can raise it higher, perhaps not only will the map be revealed, but it will gain more abilities. Wang Lin pondered, and a moment later, his gaze fell on the Emperor Furnace. Thunder and fire staggered inside the furnace as the fog was being refined. The fog had shrunk from 10,000 feet to 8,000 feet, and it was still shrinking. With a sneer, Wang Lin sat down outside the Emperor Furnace. His hand-formed seals and restrictions pierced the Emperor Furnacing, landing on the red fog. Aside from the ancient soul restriction, Wang Lin was good with the rest. As he continued to weaken the restrictions inside the red fog, layer upon layer of red fog dissipated. After 15 minutes, only 1,000 feet of red fog remained, revealing the platform the ancient god was carrying. Wang Lin waved his hand and the 3 jades left by the middle-aged scholar shot out. They penetrated the Emperor Furnace and shot into the fog, causing it to stop moving. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he suddenly stood up. His right hand pressed against the Emperor Furnace and his ancient god power rushed in. Countless souls rushed out and formed a giant pair of hands. The hands charged into the fog and mercilessly tore it apart. The fog was ripped open, revealing the truth inside. Before Wang Lin could get a good look, a heaven-shaking roar echoed and rushed out. It seemed to be able to detect Wang Lin, and it charged toward Wang Lin's direction. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Wang Lin coldly looked at the Qilan-like Tao spirit that smashed into the Emperor Furnace and was knocked back. Its body was covered in wounds and it looked dispirited. It was obvious that its battle against esteemed Ling Dong was very difficult. However, the ferociousness in its eyes hadn't lessened at all. As it retreated, it continued to let out roars. Beside him was a corpse. It was a bloody mess. It was esteemed Ling Dong. The Emperor Furnace belonged to Wang Lin, so there was no way for esteemed Ling Dong to hide. Wang Lin saw that esteemed Ling Dong wasn't dead. Instead, his origin soul was hidden and he was rapidly recovering. Wang Lin raised his right hand and formed a seal before pointing at the Emperor Furnace. Ghosts appeared and took the Tao spirit away, leaving only esteemed Ling Dong lying there. Don't pretend to be dead. I don't plan to kill you. Rather than a dead Ling Dong, I want a 3rd step ancient slave. Wang Lin's voice echoed as his 6 ancient god stars rotated. Ancient god energy poured into the furnace and he began the cruel slave refining process. Esteemed Ling Dong, who was lying there, suddenly opened his eyes and revealed a hideous expression. He got up and sat down. His gloomy eyes stared ahead and seemed to be able to see through the emperor furnace to see Wang Lin refining outside. However, right now he was like an empty oil lamp. To make this old man end up in this sorry state, you can't be nameless. Who are you? A hoarse voice came from esteemed Ling Dong, and it revealed his monstrous hatred. Wang Lin's expression was calm, and his answer was to surge his ancient god power into the emperor furnace. The emperor furnace's refining power surged forward, and then miserable screams echoed inside the furnace. You want to refine this old man? That's impossible. Although this old man has been seriously injured by you, this old man has cultivated for countless years. My Tao heart is firm, so it is impossible for you to refine me. Esteemed Ling Du sneered. Seeing that Wang Lin didn't speak, he closed his eyes to heal. He concluded that Wang Lin couldn't refine him in a short period of time. As long as he could recover a little, he could break out of this strange furnace and escape. Wang Lin indeed didn't have the cultivation level to refine a third-step cultivator. Even with the emperor furnace it would take a long time, which Wang Lin didn't have in the ancient order tomb. I can't refine you. A hint of mockery flashed in Wang Lin's eyes, and then he surged even more ancient god power into the emperor furnace. Even more souls appeared inside the furnace, until they formed a storm. As the soul storm howled, it suddenly turned into a giant shadow. This was the shadow of an ancient god. This ancient god looked extremely bizarre. He was red and had a huge axe in his hand. He lifted the axe in his hand and chopped down on esteemed Ling Dong. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he began chanting in the ancient god language. Emperor Furnace, 10 chops to refine the slave. Illusory imprints appeared and landed on the Emperor Furnace. Thunderous rumbles echoed inside the Emperor Furnace. The red ancient god smashed down the axe in his right hand. It penetrated the storm and descended on esteemed Ling Dong's head. This old man wants to see how you will refine me. Esteemed Ling Dong's expression suddenly changed and his eyes opened. He looked up at the axe and let out a roar. His hands formed a seal and the phantom of a giant statue appeared before him. This statue was the same as the devil god he had summoned before. In an instant, the axe landed and collided with the ghostly light from the statue. There was a thunderous bang and then the axe dissipated and the statue collapsed. Esteemed Ling Dong coughed out blood. The moment he coughed out the blood turned into a statue that surrounded him. Wang Lin's face turned slightly pale and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Without hesitation, he pointed at the Emperor Furnace. Another axe appeared in the ancient god's hand, and it smashed down. Before the second axe even landed, more souls gathered and another ancient god formed. This second ancient god also held an axe in his right hand and smashed down. This didn't end. The souls condensed like crazy and the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth ancient gods formed. The 8 ancient gods all smashed down with the axes in their hands. The axes looked like one strike, leaving behind afterimages as they descend toward esteemed Ling Dong. Refine for me, Wang Lin roared. There was killing intent in his eyes. Thunderous rumbles echoed like crazy inside the Emperor Furnace. The statue around esteemed Ling Dong was hit by the first axe. It trembled violently but didn't dissipate. The second axe rapidly descended. Third, fourth, until the 8th axe descended as if they had all fused into one. The statue couldn't withstand the monstrous shockwave, so it shattered. The residual energy pierced through the statue and shot directly at esteemed Ling Dong. It landed on esteemed Ling Dong's head at an unimaginable speed and penetrated into the ground with any hesitation. The entire Emperor Furnace trembled and esteemed Ling Dong coughed out blood. There was a brief moment of confusion in his eyes. Wang Lin was waiting for this moment of confusion. The moment that confusion appeared in esteemed Ling Dong's eyes, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange glow. His hand formed a seal and then he pointed to between his eyebrows and muttered, "Dao spell dream Dao." Inside the Emperor Furnace, esteemed Ling Dong's body trembled and the confusion in his eyes became even stronger. The memories of his entire life flashed through his eyes. Your talent is very good, so I'll take you into the Ling Dong clan. If you can achieve anything, then it will be your own luck. Remember my name. My name is Wang Lin. The vague figure of a young man spoke to a kneeling teenager before him. I'll remember this name for life. The teenager's eyes were filled with determination and gratitude. Although you're not a member of my Ling Dong clan, You are faithful to my Lingdong clan and are very talented. This old man will give you my clan mark to you. Take care. The old man in black was pale and there was a bloody hole in his chest. His injuries were so serious that even his origin soul had collapsed. He was now on his deathbed. Before him knelt a middle-aged man. This man was Lingdong. Teacher's real name is Wang Lin. Wang Lin. The man was startled. This man was familiar with the name Wang Lin. In the ancient star system, an old man was quickly escaping. His face was pale and he started to cough out blood. There were 3 people chasing after him. Could it be that I, Lingdong, will die here today? There was despair in the old man's eyes. The 3 people chasing him suddenly closed in and their spells turned into 3 dragons. When the dragons got close, the old man revealed a miserable smile. He decided to self-destruct in order to kill them. Just at this moment, a gentle light appeared in the void and waved at the 3 people chasing him. The 3 of them coughed out blood and retreated in terror. The person who saved you is Wang Lin. The old man had just survived the jaws of death, but when he heard this name, his eyes were filled with fear and confusion. Again, it's Wang Lin. After an unknown amount of time, there was a white-haired old man in the Lingdong clan. He was completely rotten and had reached the moment of death. 5th Heaven's Blight. 5th Heaven's Blight. Could it be that my cultivation ends here? The old man revealed a wry smile as the last mouthful of black blood squeezed out from his mouth and he closed his eyes. However, just as he closed his eyes, he seemed to enter a strange world. This place was a complete blur and he couldn't see anything. The only thing that was clear to his eyes was the back of a figure. Become my slave and I'll let your Tao be complete. A cold voice echoed. Who are you? The old man's eyes narrowed. Wang Lin. The figure turned around and a pair of eyes like lightning looked at the old man. The appearance was that of Wang Lin. The old man's mind trembled. With his mental strength, he won't normally be shaken, but the name Wang Lin had accompanied him all his life, starting from when he entered the Lingdong clan. His benefactor teacher, who had given him his clan mark, had said that his name was Wang Lin. Whenever he faced a life-threatening danger, someone who claimed to be Wang Lin would rescue him. All of this was like a dream for him. If you agree, you will no longer be Lingdong. Your new name will be Ancient Slave. The moment this voice echoed, the blurry world collapsed and the countless pieces scattered. This ripped open all of Lingdong's memories. Inside the Emperor Furnace, his body trembled and he became sober. However, although he was sober, there was still confusion in his eyes. The moment he became sober inside the Emperor Furnace, the 8 ancient gods overlapped and became the 9th ancient god. The 10th chop smashed down toward esteemed Lingdong. When it was less than 100 feet away, he struggled with the confusion and was about to resist. However, just at this moment, a cold voice echoed inside the Emperor Furnace. Are you Lingdong or Ancient Slave? Esteemed Lingdong trembled. Endless fear filled his eyes and he roared. Who the hell are you? I'm Wang Lin. Wang Lin was filled exhaustion outside the Emperor Furnace. His voice slowly echoed inside the Emperor Furnace and turned into endless thunder inside Lingdong's mind. All he could hear was the name Wang Lin. When the axe landed on his head, the axe turned into a circular imprint on his forehead. Then his eyes became dim and he fell down. The soul storm took him away. Outside the Emperor Furnace, Wang Lin became even more tired, but there was a hint of joy in his eyes. He took a deep breath. Through the Emperor Furnace, Wang Lin had used his dream Tao to mess up Lingdong's mind. This allowed him to leave his brand on Lingdong. However, he would still have to refine for a period of time and add a lot of restrictions before Lingdong could be used. Unfortunately, there are still a lot of drawbacks. But time is limited, so this is all I can do. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and the world inside the Emperor Furnace began to change. It was filled with clouds, but the clouds soon dissipated to reveal another world. The Tao spirit Wang Lin had sealed here was constantly roaring, and its body was covered in flames. The injuries it had suffered were recovering at a rapid pace. Seeing this, it wouldn't need long to recover to the state it was in before. Wang Lin didn't know what a Tao spirit was, and it was the first time he had seen something like this. When he saw how fast it was recovering, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. I want to see what this Tao spirit is exactly. Wang Lin's hand formed a seal and then he waved his hand. A stone door appeared inside the Emperor Furnace. This was the stone door from the Wind Celestial Realm. It was Wang Lin's original spell, Flowing Time. Time reversed and Wang Lin clearly saw the Tao spirit inside the door. It was like layers of mystery was being peeled away. A moment later, Wang Lin's expression changed and he stood up. He subconsciously took a few steps back. This is impossible. Wang Lin's expression was extremely serious. He was startled for a long time and there was still shock in his eyes. What he saw was something he didn't dare to believe and couldn't even trust. He didn't know what was real or fake. The Heavens Tao is dead. The Heavens Tao is dead. Wang Lin had heard this more than once in his 2,000 years of cultivation. He had attempted to pursue this but found no answer. It was a mess, and no one could find any real clues to this. Perhaps the Heavens Tao was really dead. Wang Lin's face was still pale as he looked into the Emperor Furnace and saw the Tao spirit inside. The Tao spirit that was rapidly recovering seemed to notice Wang Lin's gaze. It let out bursts of roars and its eyes revealed a hostile gaze. Wang Lin silently pondered. Everything he had seen from Flowing Time flashed through his eyes. This Tao spirit had lived for a long time, so Flowing Time couldn't show him everything. Wang Lin knew this. He merely wanted to find some clues about the Tao spirit. However, when his Flowing Time spell surrounded the Tao spirit, a mysterious change took place. Perhaps it was because this was the ancient order tomb, or because the Tao spirit had a simple life. It only had 2 parts in its life. However, as a result, the time quickly reversed past Wang Lin's limit. This shocked Wang Lin, but he remained calm and didn't stop it. He allowed Flowing Time to reverse time like crazy on the Tao spirit. After an unknown amount of time, Wang Lin saw the first part. The spirit was dazzling and the light was blinding, making it difficult to see inside. As the light shined, the Tao spirit gradually disappeared. Although the light was blinding, Wang Lin could still clearly see inside the light thanks to his cultivation. What he saw was the cause for Wang Lin's expression to change for the first time. He clearly saw a golden pill the size of a head rapidly rotating inside. The light was coming from inside this pill. What kind of Tao spirit was this? This was clearly a pill. The so-called Tao spirit was just the spirit of the pill. However, this wasn't enough to make Wang Lin stand up and almost lose himself. What actually shocked him was what happened next, when time reversed once more. Time reversed like a rushing river. In a flash, the pill began to distort, and the distortion collapsed, revealing an unknown star system. This was not the outer realm or the inner realm. It seemed to exist inside time itself, and the ancient aura it gave off made the inner realm and the outer realm feel like children in comparison. There were countless cultivation planets in this unknown star system. At a glance, one could see 9 burning planets. The fire from the planets was monstrous and gave off a blinding light. They were like suns in this vast void. A 7-colored figure moved like a blur across the stars and then raised his hand. There was a green ring on his index finger. He waved his right hand. One of the 9 suns trembled like crazy and charged at the person in the 7-colored robe. The endless distance seemed to instantly break, and the heat wave caused space to tremble. It was impossible to get a good look at the person in the 7-colored robe. He waved his hand and the remaining 8 suns also changed trajectory and closed in. The 9 suns smashed together before the man in the 7-colored robe, creating an indescribable explosion. It was as if the entire star system was about to collapse. After an unknown amount of time, the 9 suns began to fuse, and as the collapse continued, they became smaller and smaller. The 9 suns fused into one. Then the man in the 7-colored robe spat out a mouthful of 7-colored energy. The energy filled the area before him and suddenly shrank. Popping sounds echoed and a golden pill appeared. The violent flame was still burning around it. This pill was the one that Wang Lin had seen. It was after seeing this that Wang Lin suddenly stood up and revealed a look of shock. What shocked him beside the fact that the pill had been refined from 9 suns was the identity of the man in the 7-colored robe. Although he couldn't see the person's appearance, he still recognized that this person was the same as the statue Wang Lin had taken from Greed. Only there was no ring on the index finger of the statue. The statue was something Greed had obtained here, and he saw that person again when he entered the ancient order tomb. This shouldn't have made him retreat. He stood up and his expression changed due to the shock, but this wasn't enough for him to retreat. Only unimaginable fear and disbelief could make him retreat, and this came from what the man in the seven-colored robe said as he held the pill. To raise the heavenly Tao with a Tao pill is not a good method. I have to find another way. To make the heavenly Tao I stole grow faster. Just this sentence caused Wang Lin's mind to tremble, and he couldn't keep flowing time running, so it stopped. The disbelief and fear had forced him to take a few steps back. It was as if the information was enough to tear even his ancient god body apart if he didn't take those few steps back. The shock was enough to collapse him. Raise the heavenly Tao, raise the heavenly Tao, raise the heavenly Tao, raise the heavenly Tao. These 4 words echoed in Wang Lin's ears like crazy and replaced all other sounds. After a long time, Wang Lin suppressed the shock and took a deep breath. What is the heavenly Tao? This Tao spirit was actually used to feed the heavenly Tao. Who is the person in the seven-colored robe? The ancient celestial emperor. There was confusion in Wang Lin's eyes. The more he learned, the more mysterious everything felt. Wang Lin had a vague feeling, but he still couldn't understand everything. As he stood there, the confusion in his eyes became even stronger. Heavenly Tao's blood. The All-Seer did everything to obtain the heavenly Tao's blood in the Rain celestial realm. The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor said that he had swallowed the heavenly Tao's blood. The heavenly Tao has blood, and it needs to be raised with this pill. What is the heavenly Tao? Wang Lin pondered as he stared at the sky. Perhaps the heavenly Tao is a treasure or a pill or a fierce beast. Wang Lin's expression became complicated and he remembered the time he saw the nether beast in all heaven. The beast was huge and it had another world inside it. Wang Lin stood there with a gloomy expression as his mind gradually recovered from the shock. He buried his speculations deep inside his heart. At this moment, inside the Emperor Furnace, the rank 4 Tao spirit had mostly recovered. Its roars were like the raging wind. However, this Tao spirit was no longer mysterious before Wang Lin. A mere pill spirit. Even though you were refined from 9 suns, you have lost most of your power over the countless years. Since you were lucky and weren't used to raise the heavenly Tao, then let me use you instead. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he licked his lips. He had returned to normal. He then looked at the pill and waved his hand. The Emperor Furnace trembled and fire surged inside. A soul storm swept by, interrupting the healing of the Tao spirit. Wang Lin began refining, and he personally stepped inside the Emperor Furnace. Thunderous rumbles echoed from inside the Emperor Furnace as time slowly passed by. In the blink of an eye, 3 days went by, and a large amount of white gas came out of the furnace along with a fragrance. The white gas fused with the blood rivers that hadn't collapsed yet. Wang Lin's figure appeared from inside the white gas. With a wave of his hand, the Emperor Furnace disappeared and returned to the star between his eyebrows. With a wave of his hand, a golden pill the size of a head appeared before him. It floated before Wang Lin, looking like a burning sun as he stared at it. When Wang Lin felt the power inside the pill, he had a feeling that if he tried to devour this by force, he would explode, even with his ancient god body. So Wang Lin didn't devour it but inhaled instead. Flames came from the pill and were inhaled into Wang Lin's nose. Popping sounds came from his body and the power of fire raged inside him. This unexpectedly caused fire to appear in his right eye. It seemed to be burning away impurities inside the thunder tattoo, making it more real. After ethereal fire is Tao fire. Once my Tao fire is ignited, my thunder and fire essences will be complete. However, this pill is missing a spirit and will require a sacrifice. However, this is better as I can slowly absorb it. Wang Lin inhaled a few more times. The fire inside his body surged and a comfortable feeling filled his body. He looked down at the rivers of blood below him. The fact that so many humanoid beasts are born here must be related to the rivers of blood. The rivers didn't disintegrate from the red fog earlier, so they couldn't be ordinary. Wang Lin waved his right hand without hesitation and a rift to this storage space appeared. Thunderous hisses came from the rift and countless mosquito beasts charged out. 100,000 mosquito beasts howls filled the world. The leader was Wang Lin's Mosquito King. The Mosquito King was extremely royal, and Wang Lin was like its father. After flying out, the Mosquito King's large mouth immediately rubbed Wang Lin. Although its eyes were fierce and its body gave off a terrifying aura, Its feelings of joy and attachment was something it only showed to Wang Lin. Wang Lin revealed a smile and rubbed the mosquito beast's head. Then he pointed at the rivers of blood below. The Mosquito King let out a roar and one mosquito charged down. It drank from the river of blood. Then popping sounds came from its body. It unexpected grew 1-fold. A blood light shined from its body and its aura surged. It looked up at the Mosquito King and let out a roar. The surrounding 100,000 mosquito beasts also roared and charged at the ground under the leadership of the Mosquito King. From a distance, the earth seemed to be covered in mosquito beasts. Wang Lin had observed the blood in the river before, and it could promote the growth of fierce beasts. If the 100,000 mosquito beasts all absorbed the blood, their combat power would increase greatly. Seeing the mosquito beasts expand and become more fierce after absorbing the blood, Wang Lin no longer paid them any attention. He turned around to look at the remains of the ancient god, ancient devil and ancient demon, the 3 clans of the ancient order. These 3 had died completely, leaving only their bodies. Wang Lin's right hand touched the ancient devil. As his origin energy surged through it, he muttered to himself, "If I can find the body of an ancient devil that hasn't completely died, perhaps then my ancient devil avatar will be complete." Half an hour later, the rivers were completely dry without a single drop of blood remaining. Wang Lin seemed to have taken everything here. Even the platform on the ancient god's back had been picked up by Wang Lin and put inside his storage space. After returning to the rank 3 platform he had stole from esteemed Ling Dong, Wang Lin waved his hand. The 100,000 mosquito beasts that had all grown 1-fold surrounded him, making for a shocking sight. His gaze pierced through the mosquito beasts and looked at the 3 ancient order clan members. They had maintained the same pose for countless years. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin didn't choose to take them away. He then turned around and flew away with the rank 3 platform through a hidden rift. After leaving the sealed land, what appeared before Wang Lin was dense fog. The mosquito beasts roared and moved through the fog, causing the fog to churn. Wang Lin pondered a bit and the map appeared in his mind. After finding the path to the depths of the tomb, his eyes lit up. The rank 3 platform moved forward at an extremely fast pace. As Wang Lin moved forward, miserable screams echoed inside the fog. There wasn't a large amount of humanoid beasts inside the fog. However, they were torn apart by the large amount of mosquito beasts before they could even get near Wang Lin. The smell of blood surrounded Wang Lin as he calmly moved forward. Along the way, Wang Lin met a group of cultivators with about 30 people. Aside from one person who had a rank 2 platform, everyone else's was only 10,000 feet wide. Their platforms were also rapidly moving, and they were extremely careful. However, they were still surrounded by a large amount of humanoid beasts, and were facing a bitter struggle. During their bloody battle, the fog surged and a huge mosquito beast rushed out. Its cold gaze looked at the people that were surrounded by almost 10,000 humanoid beasts. Its appearance immediately caught the attention of the 30 or so people here. What kind of fierce beast is that? A new fierce beast has appeared. Just as they began to exclaim, they suddenly stopped. Their eyes were filled with fear. What caused them to stop was that after the first mosquito beast appeared, countless more rushed out from the fog. Behind the large amount of mosquito beasts, a giant platform 30,000 feet wide appeared. On the platform sat Wang Lin, with his white hair and white robe as he coldly stared at them. Rank 3 platform. The pupils of the old man standing on the rank 2 platform shrank. The platform under Wang Lin stopped and he raised his right hand. The surrounding 100,000 mosquito beasts let out excited roars and charged at the 10,000 humanoid beasts. They began a crazed slaughter that shocked the minds of the surrounding cultivators. These humanoid beasts didn't only benefit cultivators, they also benefited the mosquito beasts. Like a gust of wind, more than 10 mosquito beasts attacked one humanoid beast. A bloodbath occurred as the 30 or so cultivators watched. The fight was over in an instant, but almost 10,000 of the 100,000 mosquito beasts had died. However, the life force from the 10,000 humanoid beasts was divided between the remaining ones, making them even stronger. After killing 10,000 humanoid beasts in just an instant, the mosquito beasts didn't dissipate. They stared with oppressive gazes at the 30 or so cultivators they had trapped. It seemed as if Wang Lin only needed to point and they would charge out. I helped you destroy those beasts, so you need to hand the rank 2 platform to me. Wang Lin's cold gaze locked onto the old man on the rank 2 platform. The old man's expression was gloomy, looking as if he was measuring something. A moment later he jumped off the platform without a word. At the same time the platform approached Wang Lin, and the mosquitoes moved to the side to make a path. Wang Lin's gaze swept past the platform. There was a total of 312 runes on it. He waved his hand and the rank 2 platform trembled. All the runes flew off and landed on Wang Lin's rank 3 platform. The platform that lost its runes trembled and shrank until it finally collapsed. There were now more than 900 runes on Wang Lin's platform. The purple was so dark it was almost black. It began to show signs of evolving to a rank 4 platform. Still rank 3. I wonder how much more for rank 4. It shouldn't be far. Wang Lin no longer paid any attention to these cultivators and quickly flew away. The mosquito beasts that had surrounded the cultivators passed by them and returned to Wang Lin's side. They gradually disappeared into the distance. The 30 or so cultivators all had a gloomy expressions as they looked at where Wang Lin went. A middle-aged man was filled with reluctance as he said, "Zhou Gong, although there were many strange beasts, if we had resisted with all our might, we could have escaped. That person had a rank 3 platform, how could he be weak? He also had those fierce beasts, so even if we had rushed out, we would have been seriously injured. It's not worth it." The old man who owned the rank 2 platform shook his head. The middle-aged man frowned. He was about to speak when a shocking change occurred. Wang Lin hadn't gone too far when his body suddenly trembled. He looked back at the group of cultivators and his pupils shrank. The mosquitoes surrounding him all trembled and retreated. Even their hisses were filled with panic. The fog under the cultivators surged like crazy and thunderous rumbles echoed. Shortly after, an arm 100,000 feet thick suddenly charged out from the fog. It was as if there was a huge giant under the fog who had reached out from the fog. His fingers were like mountains, and they instantly surrounded these cultivators. Their expressions changed greatly, but they had no time to hide before the hand grabbed them. With a thunderous bang, the platforms under them collapsed. As the countless rocks shattered, they were all caught by the giant hand. Then the arm quickly descended and disappeared into the fog. All of this happened in an instant. It has only been a few breaths from when the arm appeared and disappeared. After a long time, the fog gradually calmed down and everything returned to normal. If Wang Lin hadn't witnessed it himself, no one would believe there were more than 30 cultivators here just now. Wang Lin silently pondered and a flash of coldness in his eyes appeared in his. That huge arm caused his mind to tremble, and he also felt an aura similar to that of an ancient god inside that arm. However, it had appeared to suddenly and then disappeared too quickly. Wang Lin had no time to carefully examine that aura. However, he had seen that the power of that grip was impossible to resist against. Ancient Order Tomb Kang. The coldness in Wang Lin's eyes disappeared. This place was becoming more mysterious and unfathomable. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and became even more cautious inside the fog. He quickly moved forward according to the map in his mind. If this map is correct, there is another sealed land ahead, and it has already been opened. There is another rank 4 Dao spirit sealed here. If I reach that place, then that means I'm going in the right direction and can move into the depths of the tomb. There was also the woman from the Sealing Extermination clan. I secretly left a mark on her, and I can feel that she is ahead. I have great use for her. I must find out how she didn't die twice. If I can gain this power. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he moved even faster. Extremely far away from Wang Lin there was a sealed land, and right now there was a bloody battle. In this gloomy world, 2 figures were fighting as thunderous rumbles echoed. Below them there were almost 100 cultivators slaughtering. The girl from the Sealing Extermination clan was filled with killing intent, and more than 10 were dead or injured around her. Miao Yin, you dare to steal this old man's Dao spirit? This old man's original body will slaughter into the Sound Sea and battle to the death with your original body. Great desolation, old poison, you came here with a portion of your soul, while I came with my avatar. You are no match for me. When I kill this portion of your soul, will you still dare to go to the Sound Sea? Ridiculous, ridiculous. Your personality is strange, and no one beside that old bird who can't leave the fallen land is your friend. There is no one here who is willing to help you. Why do you have to steal the Tao spirit from this master? Great Desolation waved his hand and a fishy wind surrounded him. Joss flames also surrounded him to help him resist Tao Master Miao Yin. Both of them were powerful cultivators, so although they both could only use early-stage Nirvana Void cultivation, their battle was still dangerous and heaven-shaking. Great Desolation's expression was gloomy. He had found this sealed land first and had spent a lot of effort to break the restriction. Just when he was about to succeed, Tao Master Miao Yin appeared. He had launched a sneak attack and then this vicious battle began. Just as the other person had said, he had come here with a part of his soul possessing another body. In terms of strength and spells, he couldn't compare to Miao Yin's avatar. Also, because this body was not one he had refined himself, he couldn't control his Joss flames well. If he was battling an ordinary third-step cultivator, this wouldn't be a problem, but his enemy was someone at his level. These problems were not fatal. He had always been proud and had a strange personality, so he indeed hardly had any friends. He was by himself in the Ancient Order tomb. He could only let out a cold snort, as he had no words of rebuttal to say. In a short period of time they had battled hundreds of times. Behind each of them floated a 40,000-foot black platform giving off a powerful pressure. The collisions of their spells created roars that shocked the minds of the cultivators battling below. At this moment outside this sealed land, a dark purple platform moved through the fog. Wang Lin stood there surrounding by almost 100,000 mosquito beasts. His gaze was cold as he moved forward following the map in his mind. The fog rushed by him as he closed in on the sealed land. After a few hours, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he looked ahead. The fog before him seemed to distort as if there was another world in there. There is indeed a sealed land. It looks like the route from the map is not wrong. Just go north from here and I can leave the outer region and reach the depths of the tomb. Wang Lin suddenly stopped outside sealed land. He stared ahead and began to ponder. The girl from the Sealing Extermination clan. I just don't know if there is a third-step cultivator inside. I should be cautious. Wang Lin pointed with his right hand and a mosquito charged out. As the mosquito flew by, Wang Lin put a sliver of divine sense inside it. Then the beast charged into the fog. In a flash, the mosquito beast closed in and disappeared when it touched the distorted fog. In the sky of the sealed land, Tao Master Miao Yin and Great Desolation were continuing their battle. There was a storm surrounding them, making it impossible to see the fierce battle inside. However, the storm that swept the world was extremely shocking. The mosquito beast appeared in the corner and remained still. Wang Lin's divine sense on the mosquito beast immediately saw everything. However, just at this moment, a ray of light shot out from the storm toward the mosquito beast. The mosquito beast instantly exploded, and even Wang Lin's sliver of divine sense was destroyed. No outsider is allowed to enter. Scram for me. Tao Master Miao Yin's voice echoed. Outside the sealed land, Wang Lin's face turned slightly pale, but he quickly recovered. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Tao Master Miao Yin. The person who is battling him was filled with poison and is also a third-step cultivator. It was too fast, so I didn't get to see who it was. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He had also seen the land below, where almost 100 cultivators were fighting, including the girl from the Sealing Extermination clan. Tao Master Miao Yin's cultivation is a bit strange. He only seems to be at Master Zimo's level. The person he is fighting is about the same. Wang Lin began to ponder. When he saw the woman in white, he found that her cultivation level had dropped far too much compared to how she was outside the Ancient Order tomb. He began to ponder. Now he had seen Master Miao Yin once more. Seeing how he was also a lot weaker like the woman in white, he began to speculate even more. Should I bet? Wang Lin frowned. If he guessed wrong, he wouldn't be able to enter the sealed land at all. The 5 masters of the ancient star system were too powerful. Wang Lin stood no chance against them. A moment later, there was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. He charged forward with the mosquito beasts without hesitation. I'm certain his cultivation is suppressed inside the tomb. Otherwise, why would he destroy my divine sense to drive me away? As one of the 5 masters, how could he be afraid of others unless there is something he is worried about? Now that he is fighting with someone, this is the perfect chance. Although that girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan is his maid, I must capture her. Wang Lin sped up and charged into the distortion. He disappeared with the countless mosquito beasts around him. A monstrous rumble echoed inside the sealed land. Then a violent rumble echoed and a large distortion appeared. Fierce mosquito beasts appeared from the distortion and immediately caught the attention of the cultivators below. There was a large amount of mosquito beasts, and they appeared in a flash and covered the sky. As the mosquito beasts filled the sky, the distortion became even more intense. Then a 30,000-foot platform suddenly appeared. Wang Lin was standing on the platform, his white hair fluttering. His suddenly appearance shocked the cultivators below. The girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan looked up and her face turned pale when she saw Wang Lin. However, that quickly turned into killing intent. Rank 3 platform. Could another third-step cultivator have arrived? This person's face is unfamiliar. Which third-step cultivator came using another body? These fierce beasts have never been seen before. Could they be another type of beast from the tomb? The almost 100 cultivators looked at Wang Lin and the mosquito beasts. Wang Lin didn't hesitate at all. The moment he appeared, the mosquito beasts roared and charged at the cultivators below. Wang Lin didn't even look at the storm before he stepped off the platform. He charged at the girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan like a bolt of lightning. "Master, save me!" The girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan screamed as she quickly retreated. The dozen or so cultivators around her were servants to Dao Master Miao Yin. They quickly began to use spells to protect her as she retreated. The girl quickly formed a seal as she retreated. Her clan mark shined as she pointed at Wang Lin and said, "As the descendant of the Ceiling Extermination clan, I sacrifice my soul." However, Wang Lin was too fast and instantly closed in. There was a flash of killing intent in a middle-aged man's eyes. He had noticed that Wang Lin wasn't a third-step cultivator, and had the intention of blocking Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was calm. As he closed in on the middle-aged man, he pointed at him. The killing intent inside the middle-aged man turned into ethereal fire and burned like crazy. As the middle-aged man screamed miserably, he retreated, but the ethereal fire burned even stronger. He had almost turned into a ball of fire. Wang Lin didn't pause at all and charged forward. He was too fast, almost invisible to the naked eyes. The other 7 or right cultivators that originally wanted to stop him were shocked by the ethereal fire. They couldn't help but stop, and their eyes were filled with fear. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he waved his hand and ethereal fire appeared once more. The 7 or 8 cultivators began to burn. Then they rapidly retreated, no longer daring to stop Wang Lin. "Summon the My Clan's Great Sealing Spell." The face of the girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan was pale. She retreated like crazy and her voice was off-pitch. It was filled with panic and had become sharp. It had only been a few breaths of time since Wang Lin appeared in this sealed land. As he moved forward, he was less than 1,000 feet from the girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan. Between them, aside from the 7 or 8 cultivators that had retreated while screaming, there were more than 10 cultivators. They all looked terrified as they watched Wang Lin approach. When he came closer, they all retreated and didn't dare to stop Wang Lin. Everywhere he went, people backed off. The 300-foot distance became 200 feet, 100 feet, 30 feet. Junior dares. Just when Wang Lin came within 30 feet from the girl, Dao Master Miao Yin's roar came from the storm, followed by an ancient laugh that seemed to be stopping him. This caused the rumbles to echo inside the storm. Dao Master Miao Yin let out a groan as a ray of light pierced through the world. This ray of light shot toward Wang Lin, and it contained the power of 100,000 Joss flame souls. As the light closed in, the voice of the girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan echoed, "Seal this person's essence." Wang Lin didn't even look. Thunder flashed in his right eye, and the thunder tattoo appeared behind him with 9 accompanying thunders rotating around it. The 9-colored fire burned in his left eye and unexpectedly integrated with the thunder tattoo. The thunder and fire essences fused to form a perfect burning thunder tattoo. The 100,000 Joss flame soul's light collided with the burning thunder tattoo. A thunderous bang echoed and Wang Lin let out a groan. He borrowed this force to move forward, and his fingers landed between the eyebrows of the girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan. The girl didn't even finish one sentence before her vision was replaced by Wang Lin's finger. When Wang Lin's finger landed between her eyebrows, she immediately coughed out blood. Countless restrictions sealed her entire body, and with a wave of Wang Lin's sleeve, she was put away inside his storage space. This entire process was as smooth as the flowing water. Wang Lin turned around and looked at the sky with a cold gaze. The nearly 100 cultivators around Wang Lin were all shocked. Everything happened so fast that the battle was over before they could react. He moved through the crowd with no one daring to block him. He had captured Dao Master Miao Yin's maid, and the power of his ethereal fire was heaven-shaking. What shocked them even more was that the blow from one of the 5 masters, Dao Master Miao Yin, was blocked and he wasn't injured. This kind of thing was enough to shock all the surrounding cultivators. Ethereal fire cultivator. Not only is he an ethereal fire cultivator, not even an attack from one of the 5 masters could kill him. Forget killing, he wasn't even injured at all. The spell he used clearly used origin energy. Even if he is not a 3rd-step cultivator, he is only 1 step away. Who is he? The dark mosquito beasts descended. They weren't slow, it was just that everything that had just happened was too fast. Wang Lin's actions, along with the arrival of the mosquito beasts, caused all the cultivators to stop fighting. The storm in the sky rumbled violently, and as Wang Lin stared at it with his cold gaze, there was a thunderous bang. It was as if a pair of giant invisible hands had grabbed the storm and ripped it open. The storm collapsed and 2 figures rapidly retreated from each other. The person who retreated to the right was Great Desolation. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes and he laughed. Good, indeed worthy of being the descendant of that old bird. You even dared to capture one of the 5 masters' maids before him. This courage, this decisiveness, you are a worthy talent. I didn't give you that poison to protect yourself for naught. The old man smiled as he spoke. He had noticed that Wang Lin was not ordinary, and if the 2 of them were to join forces, the person on the left was the young man who was Dao Master Miao Yin. He looked down at Wang Lin from the air and suddenly smiled. Very good. This smile was extremely cold. After looking at Wang Lin once, he looked up at Great Desolation. He waved his hand and a 10,000-foot green snake appeared. The green snake started to struggle and hiss. With a squeeze, the green snake let out a mournful scream and its illusory body collapsed. It then turned into a pill the size of a head and floated before Dao Master Miao Yin. Bursts of fragrance filled the air. Just one smell would make your blood flow faster and your mind more clear. Great Desolation, old poison, you're not my match in this tomb, and it is useless to continue fighting. Since this lord stole your Dao spirit, I'll give it back to you. The matter between us is over, you can leave now. How about it? After he finished speaking, Great Desolation's eyes lit up. There was flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. This sentence turned the situation around. All of the 5 masters were extremely cunning. They all had cultivated for tens of thousands of years, so none of them were fools. At a glance he had noticed that there was a chance Wang Lin and Great Desolation would team up. Then he immediately gave up the Dao spirit to cause a huge crack to appear on the possibility of them joining forces. Don't you just want this Dao spirit? I'll give it to you. Compared to the heaven-defying bead Wang Lin possesses, this is nothing. Dao Master Miao Yin remained calm, waiting for Great Desolation to make a choice. Wang Lin sneered. If he was outside, he would immediately leave if he encountered Dao Master Miao Yin, as the gap between them was too big. However, in here Wang Lin was certain he could hold his own. Although Dao Master Miao Yin was one of the 5 masters, he could only display up to early-stage Nirvana void cultivation here. Although he had no chance of winning, Dao Master Miao Yin would have to go through great difficulties to kill him. However, the most important fact was that Wang Lin had Gunizi. Great Desolation squinted his eyes and pondered for a moment. He smiled and didn't even look at Wang Lin as he said, "Bring the Dao spirit over and this old man will leave." Dao Master Miao Yin didn't speak and only looked at Great Desolation. This old man Great Desolation swears by my jaw's flames that once I obtain the Dao spirit, I'll leave and not come back. Great Desolation seemed to know what Dao Master Miao Yin was waiting for. He didn't hesitate to form a seal with his right hand. Then a strange rune flew out. To make an oath with one's Joss flames was a convincing method between third-step cultivators. With a wave of his hand, the rune flew toward Dao Master Miao Yin. After taking the rune, Miao Yin relaxed and threw the pill in his hand. Great Desolation waved his sleeve and took away the pill. He smiled and glanced at Wang Lin before flying off into the distance. The moment he stepped into a spatial rift, Wang Lin suddenly flew into the sky. The moment Wang Lin flew into the sky, the thunder tattoo appeared before him and he charged at Dao Master Miao Yin. Dao Master Miao Yin let out a cold snort and his eyes revealed a ruthless gaze. The first thing one must do when battling an ethereal fire cultivator was to seal one's emotions. His right hand formed a seal and he suddenly waved his hand. Joss flames appeared, along with the illusion of a beautiful woman. She was holding a jade sword and struck at Wang Lin with it. The sword energy was monstrous and felt like it would chop this sealed land in half. It shot toward the thunder tattoo. In a flash, the sword energy collided with the thunder tattoo, and a thunderous rumble echoed. The sword energy didn't slam into the thunder tattoo but split into thousands of strands. The thunder tattoo collapsed in a flash. Wang Lin coughed out blood and anxiously moved back. He seemed weakened and was about to retreat. Dao Master Miao Yin was about to chase, but just at this moment, a black wind howled behind him. The world behind him suddenly twisted and a huge shadow appeared. The shadow formed a palm that gave off a fishy smell, and it shot toward Miao Yin. The dark palm appeared too suddenly, and it instantly closed in on him. His expression changed and he decisively gave up on chasing Wang Lin. Then he formed a seal and a cloud of purple mist appeared. An ancient shield charged out from the mist. There was a thunderous bang when the dark palm landed on the shield. Popping sounds echoed and countless cracks appeared on the shield. But it didn't collapse. However, it was pushed back and smashed into Dao Master Miao Yin. Dao Master Miao Yin coughed out blood and rapidly retreated. However, just as he retreated, the weakened expression on Wang Lin suddenly dissipated. There was a flash of killing intent as he waved his right hand and a monstrous blood light appeared. The blood sword shot toward Dao Master Miao Yin. "I want all his Joss flames," Wang Lin said calmly as he charged out. "I want his body to house my soul." An ancient voice echoed in the world. Dao Master Miao Yin didn't pay attention to Wang Lin. The shield before him flew out, colliding with the giant palm. There was anger in his eyes and he snapped, "Great Desolation, old poison, you broke your promise." What a joke. This old man has always kept his promises. Since you stole my treasure once, there will be a second time, a third time. How can I continue to let you steal? As he laughed, Great Desolation's figure flickered inside the dark palm print. This little cultivator is a junior of that old bird. That old bird is the only close friend I have, so how could I leave him? That body of yours is mine. As Great Desolation spoke, he waved his right hand. The 5 nails on the palm broke off and turned into 5 knives made of black gas. They were extremely sharp, and they shot toward Dao Master Miao Yin. Dao Master Miao Yin quickly retreated as the blood sword appeared behind him. He didn't care much about the blood sword or Wang Lin. He thought that at most Wang Lin could distract him. His real enemy was the Great Desolation old poison before him. When he saw the 5 nails fly out, he focused most of his attention on what was before him. As more power was poured into the shield, endless purple gas appeared until it was like a purple ocean. Junior Wang Lin scrammed for this lord. "When this lord has time, I'll kill you." As he retreated, he waved his left hand and an illusion walked out from the purple ocean. This figure was 1,000 feet tall and his body was covered in purple armor. He held a trident in his hand, and after he appeared, his eyes lit up and he charged at Wang Lin and the blood sword. Dao Master Miao Yin hadn't seen Wang Lin and Master Simo's battle. He had been eager to leave to come to the Ancient Order tomb, and never even tried to find news about what happened on the Great Emperor planet. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't know anything, he wouldn't have looked down upon Wang Lin like this and put all his attention on the enemy before him, because behind him was a god of slaughter. An ancient god that had refined esteemed Ling Dong and had greatly increased in power. The blood sword howled and collided with the trident with a bang. There was almost nothing in the world that could stop the blood sword. It pierced through the trident and the figure. It then shot directly toward Dao Master Miao Yin. This sudden change caused the expression of Tao Master Miao Yin to change greatly. He was too late to dodge. The 5 knife-like fingernails from Great Desolation were closing in. At the moment of crisis, Tao Master Miao Yin waved his hand and let out a roar. Scales appeared on his body. These scales were purple and gave off a purple glow. In an instant they covered his body. The 5 nails collided with the shield, causing a thunderous rumble. The shield was torn apart and the nails landed on Miao Yin's body. At the same time the blood sword charged into his body. A heaven-equal shaking sound echoed across this sealed land. As the shockwave spread, a giant rift was opened in the sealed land and the fog outside rushed in. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, Tao Master Miao Yin coughed out blood. His chest was a bloody mess and filled with poison gas. The blood sword had penetrated his chest and returned back to Wang Lin. Sound essence, water essence, sound wave destruction Tao. Tao Master Miao Yin had a hideous expression as he quickly retreated. He had to admit that he had looked down upon Wang Lin, and right now he let out a shrill laugh. However, he didn't know that Wang Lin had already prepared his most powerful blow. Esteemed Ling Dong, who had just become an ancient slave, hadn't been refined enough, so he couldn't be called out for long. There was only time for one blow. Wang Lin grasped this critical moment and had esteemed Ling Dong attack. Tao Master Miao Yin was one of the 5 masters, so although his cultivation was suppressed, his power was unimaginable. If not for the fact that he had been sneak attacked by Wang Lin's blood sword while facing Great Desolation and then came under attack by Great Desolation's most powerful spell, it would have been impossible for Wang Lin to injure him. The most important part was that Tao Master Miao Yin's understanding of Wang Lin stopped at the Great Emperor planet. He could have never expected Wang Lin to be able to get control of esteemed Ling Dong, who was half a step into the 3rd step. This was his most fatal mistake. However, even with all of this, esteemed Ling Dong was hit by the shockwave after he used his spell and coughed out blood as a result. Even the statue he had summoned disintegrated. Blood flowed out from Wang Lin's mouth and a roar echoed in his ears. The sound from Miao Yin threw him back. He felt pain in his origin soul and coughed out blood. However, just after he retreated a few steps, Wang Lin forced himself to stop. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes and he rushed forward. He ignored Miao Yin, who was knocked back. He waved his right hand. The Emperor Furnace appeared and surrounded the Black Ocean. This ocean had been poisoned, so it gave off a foul smell. The countless Joss flame souls had already been infused with poison and had become poison souls, so they could no longer offer Joss flames. However, this poison ocean was an extremely rare treasure for Wang Lin. He had to steal it before Great Desolation collected it. After refining it into a single drop with the Emperor Furnace, it would contain poison that could threaten 3rd step cultivators. As for Great Desolation, although he sounded nice, how could Wang Lin easily believe him? They were only working together because it benefited them both. Old monsters that had cultivated for tens of thousands of years were all cunning and couldn't be underestimated. If he could break his vow to Miao Yin, then he could naturally break his promise to Wang Lin. Wang Lin understood this very well. This was why he had purposely knocked Tao Master Miao Yin far away when esteemed Ling Dong attacked. He also didn't push the 3 needles in completely, giving Miao Yin a chance to delay Great Desolation. Great Desolation's soul quickly chased after Tao Master Miao Yin. His soul turned into black gas and became a cruel possession. If Wang Lin had pushed the 3 needles in completely, Miao Yin wouldn't have had much power to resist. However, it was different now. The 2 of them began fighting each other with their divine senses inside Miao Yin's body. As a result, there was enough time for Wang Lin to take away the ocean that was poisoned. He didn't hesitate to form a seal with his, and with a roar, he captured the entire ocean in the Emperor Furnace. There were countless realms inside the Emperor Furnace, but with Wang Lin's cultivation level, he could only open 2. With a wave of his hand, one realm stored the poison ocean and the other realm stored the ancient slave. At this moment, as Tao Master Miao Yin and Great Desolation fought for control over the body, the rift that led to the Joss Flame realm began to quickly close. It was about to disappear completely. How could Wang Lin let this Joss Flame realm dissipate? He had joined forces with Great Desolation to get Miao Yin's Joss Flames. He couldn't use the Joss Flames, but ancient slave Ling Dong was half a foot into the 3rd step. As long as he got enough Joss flames, ancient slave Ling Dong could become a true third-step cultivator. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a hint of madness as he rushed toward the Joss flame realm. There was still a vast purple ocean inside that hadn't been poisoned. There were countless Joss flame souls inside. These were all collected and stolen by Miao Yin over the years. This was his foundation as one of the 5 masters. The surrounding fog had already been pushed far away and was giving off muffled rumbles. The sealed land had already collapsed and all the cultivator inside had died. The fog sea below was pushed down, revealing a vast empty area. However, just as this moment, a shocking change occurred. The fog surged as if it was a fountain spitting out a large amount of fog. It was too fast and the fog rushed upwards. What was shocking was that a giant arm hundreds of thousands of feet thick charged out. The moment the arm appeared, a powerful aura filled the entire fog sea. The arm was too fast and it instantly closed in while opening its palm. It was targeting Wang Lin and Miao Yin, who was being possessed. This was the second time Wang Lin had seen the arm, and his expression changed greatly. An unimaginably powerful force closed in and was about to tear his body apart. The arm was so fast, it instantly touched down Master Miao Yin, and he coughed out blood. Great desolation took this chance to suppress Miao Yin's soul. However, this caused his body to be stuck on the palm by a suction force, and he was unable to break free. In a flash, the giant palm shot toward Wang Lin. The 5 fingers were like 5 pillars that supported the world. They suddenly fell down toward Wang Lin. They hit Wang Lin with a powerful impact that caused him to cough out blood, but he was unwilling. What caused him to be unwilling was not just the palm catching him, but that fact that the rift to the Joss flame realm was less than 1,000 feet away. The rift was now less than 10,000 feet long, and was going to dissipate completely soon. Once it disappeared, his reward for teaming up with Great Desolation to seriously injure Miao Yin would be gone. Wang Lin had just used the life-saving spell inside the ancient god gauntlet, so he couldn't use it for a while. Also, every time it was used, it would damage the gauntlet until it collapsed. Seeing the palm close in, Wang Lin didn't have much time to think. He clenched his teeth and let out a roar at the sky. His eyes were filled with determination as his body grew. In a flash, he was thousands of feet tall. His ancient god body appeared. His sudden growth created 2,000 feet of distance between him and the giant palm. This completely erased the 1,000 feet distance between him and the Joss flame realm. Seal! Wang Lin roared, and with a wave of his hand, the 2 ancient leaves flew out, sealing the edge of the rift. This caused the shrinking rift to pause for a moment. During the moment of pause, Wang Lin's right hand moved like a meteor into the realm and mercilessly grabbed countless Joss flame souls. At the same time, the hand that had come out of the fog grabbed Wang Lin's chest. Pain filled his body. The power from the hand felt like it was going to crush him. The moment the arm grabbed Wang Lin, it suddenly sank. It was going to pull Wang Lin in Great Desolation, who had just succeeded in the possession, down into the fog sea. The arm was too powerful. Wang Lin had nothing to grab onto, and his arm was about to pulled out from the Joss flame realm. He was about to be pulled down by the giant arm when his right hand suddenly grabbed onto the right side of the rift sealed by the ancient leaves. Then his left hand reached out, grabbing the left edge of the rift. His ancient god power surged like crazy as he held onto the sides of the rift. This scene was extremely shocking. If one looked from the distance, it would be enough to shock anyone who saw it. An ancient god thousands of feet tall holding on to a spatial rift like it was a fragment. Below his chest there was a giant palm holding his body and violently pulling him down. As he was being pulled, intense pain filled his body as if he was going to be ripped in half. There was a tearing sound as the rift was ripped open further as Wang Lin was pulled down. The endless purple ocean and the countless Joss flame souls were revealed when the rift was ripped open wider. There was madness in Wang Lin's eyes as he opened his mouth and inhaled. He couldn't care too much right now, he had to take away as much Joss flames as he could. As he inhaled, countless Joss flame souls flew toward him. Wang Lin's body was like a bottomless pit as he inhaled those Joss flame souls. He inhaled 10% of the Joss flame souls in one go. His body had sunk tens of thousands of feet from being pulled by the arm. However, his hand was clinging on to the edge of the rift, so it wasn't able to dissipate. It was ripped open tens of thousands of feet as Wang Lin was pulled down. Emperor Furnace! The moment the rift was opened wider, Wang Lin let out a roar and a majority of the Emperor Furnace entered the Joss Flame realm. A realm inside the furnace opened up and absorbed like crazy. Large amounts of purple ocean rushed into the Emperor Furnace along with countless Joss Flame souls. The Emperor Furnace absorbed another 20% of Dao Master Miao Yin's Joss Flame realm. The 20% of the purple ocean had filled up the Emperor Furnace, so it was no longer able to absorb more. All of this happened in an instant. Wang Lin endured the pain in his body and finally loosened his hand. Then the Emperor Furnace turned into a ray of light and disappeared between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Even the two ancient leaves were taken back by Wang Lin. His body was rapidly pulled down by the huge arm to the bottom of the fog sea. The rolling fog quickly gathered from all directions and filled the vortex that was created by the movement of the arm. Shortly after, everything was filled with fog. Then it gradually calmed down. Several hours later, a group of more than 20 cultivators flew by. They didn't notice a thing. Strange. According to the map, there should be a sealed land here. We looked for a long time and still didn't find it. Could the map be wrong? The crowd gradually flew away. Note 1. A change from Gunuzi to ancient slave. The reason I didn't translate it before was because it was being used like a name. So I thought it was a name that meant ancient slave, but just using ancient slave was weird because what if more appears? However, in this chapter it's clearly shown to be used as a title instead, so I'll change it now to the translated version. A giant arm quickly descended into the fog, creating a howling wind through it. It moved like lightning, and the howling sound became even louder. However, the sound was absorbed by the fog and didn't travel too far. The arm wasn't going straight down but at an angle. Wang Lin's body below his chest was grabbed by the palm and intense pain filled his body. However, the hand didn't use more power. It merely wanted to hold on to Wang Lin. Great desolation had occupied Dao Master Miao Yin's avatar and suppressed the soul inside. He was sitting on the palm with a gloomy expression. 3 platforms had been pulled in by the arm as well. They were clearly the 3 platforms that belonged to Wang Lin, Great Desolation, and Miao Yin. There was same damage on the platforms, but it was obvious that the arm didn't want to crush them. There was a flash of coldness in Great Desolation's eyes. Then he raised his right hand and formed a seal. Black gas that contained extreme poison gathered. He then let out a cold snort and was about to press down on the huge palm when Wang Lin suddenly spoke. "Senior, please wait." Great Desolation frowned. He struggled to raise his head as the palm descended. Wang Lin said, "Senior has just succeeded in possessing Dao Master Miao Yin's avatar, and hasn't completely adapted to the body. Your mind is clouded. This bizarre arm isn't sinking straight down." As Wang Lin spoke, popping sounds came from his body and he quickly shrank back to the size of a normal person. When his body shrank, he suddenly fell. He allowed the 5 fingers to close, creating a thunderous rumble. Wang Lin landed in the palm, and his eyes revealed a mysterious light. He seemed to casually rub between his eyebrows with his right hand and spoke slowly. Great Desolation was no ordinary cultivator. After being awakened by Wang Lin, he had noticed the difference. This arm wasn't going straight down, it was tilted to the side. If Senior stimulated this strange arm, it would immediately close its hand. At that point, I fear it would be difficult for us to escape. Wang Lin casually took a few steps back. His right hand that was rubbing between his eyebrows dropped down, and during that process, he retreated some more. "What do you mean?" Great Desolation's face distorted and his original body's hideous face began to appear on Dao Master Miao Yin's avatar's body. The large hand didn't close completely, leaving a large piece of land open. Wang Lin retreated back to 10,000 feet away from Great Desolation and put away his and Miao Yin's platforms. Although his face was pale, his eyes were shining brightly. Wang Lin slowly said, "Junior has observed the trajectory of this giant hand and made a guess. If my guess is wrong, we can work together to find a way to break free and it won't be too late. However, if I'm correct, the appearance of this hand might not be a bad thing for us." Wang Lin raised his hand and said, "If it was really meant to capture the 2 of us, this arm should be going straight down. However, it is obvious it is tilted right now. That means it can only be." Wang Lin's right hand moved down while tilted until it reached a certain degree. Then his right hand jerked forward and blood light came from his body. Like this. Great Desolation's eyes narrowed. He hadn't prevented Wang Lin from taking Miao Yin's platform. He waved his right hand and put away his own platform. He contemplated for a bit, and then there was a hint of enlightenment in his eyes. He glanced at Wang Lin. You're smarter than the old bird. Nothing to do with being smart, it is just a guess. Wang Lin shook his head. As the two talked, the giant arm that had been tilted for a while suddenly trembled as if it stopped. The howling sound also stopped and the surrounding became silent. Wang Lin's expression was serious and he was completely focused. He was like a drawn bow, waiting to see if his guess was correct. Great Desolation was clearly convinced by Wang Lin's speculation. He focused himself for the moment. Just at this moment, a shrill roar echoed like crazy. The giant arm stopped for a moment and then a roar came from the depths of the fog sea. As the roar echoed, the arm began to move. It looked just like a giant was holding a stone, and after tilting the hand, it would throw the rock forward. A powerful force came from the hand and threw Wang Lin in Great Desolation forward. It was impossible to describe the strength of this throw. It was so fast, it made the broken fog feel like sharp blades that landed on Wang Lin and Great Desolation's bodies. The arm formed an arc, and when it reached its limit, the 5 fingers opened. Wang Lin and Great Desolation were thrown like stones by this giant into the depth of the ancient tomb. The powerful force from the arm pushed the two of them forward. They moved forward at a speed surpassing third-step cultivators. This speed was too fast. If Wang Lin didn't have the body of an ancient god, his body would have been crushed by the fog ahead. Although the fog had no shape, once your speed reached a certain limit, this formless fog would become the hardest thing in the world. Popping sounds came from his body and blood spewed out. However, his body broke through the fog in a flash and he was thrown into the depths of the ancient tomb. However, Wang Lin had already prepared for this. The moment the arm threw him, he was like an arrow that shot out from the bow. His origin energy formed layers of defense around him, and the light and shadow shield appeared around him. When he was thrown out, he mercilessly stepped off the palm. He had borrowed the force of the throw and used his own force to move faster than Great Desolation. He passed by Great Desolation and disappeared into the fog first. If it wasn't for Wang Lin having learned the Black Tortoise's law of strength, he would not have dared to do this. If he couldn't control the rebound force, it would have destroyed his body. Although Great Desolation was injured, Wang Lin was as well. Also, Wang Lin couldn't see through this person, so he had taken this opportunity to leave. This was the best choice. In truth, if it wasn't for the fact that Great Desolation was cunning and was about to attack the arm, Wang Lin wouldn't have stated his guess. Wang Lin had even guessed that Great Desolation had already seen through it, and had purposely pretended to attack. Wang Lin didn't have time to analyze it in detail, so he simply left. Great Desolation was also extremely fast. He flew like a meteor after being thrown by the arm. When he saw Wang Lin flying back even faster than him, his eyes lit up. His right hand that had already formed a seal slowly loosened. This person is extremely cautious and extremely cunning. I wanted to kill him 3 times earlier, but he defused them all. I intended to borrow the moment when we were thrown to poison him, but he saw through me and borrowed the force to escape. Great Desolation was gloomy as he disappeared into the fog. Wang Lin was moving extremely fast as the fog rushed into his face. The light and shadow shield around him was collapsing and reforming constantly. The layers of restrictions he had placed disintegrated one by one. The force pushing his body lasted for more than half an hour before it began to dissipate. After his speed slowed down and the fog could no longer injure him, Wang Lin wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He looked back and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin turned around and took out his platform. After sitting down, he took out Miao Yin's platform. Then his right hand slammed down and Miao Yin's platform rumbled. The runes all flew out, and with a wave of his hand, those runes landed on his platform. When the runes entered his platform, Wang Lin's platform flashed violently. It began to groan from 30,000 feet until it was 40,000 feet. Its color was now completely black. It seemed as if it was going to fuse with this fog. Rank for platform. Wang Lin didn't stop and his right hand reached out, making hundreds more runes appear. These belonged to the cultivators that died in the sealed land. Wang Lin had managed to take them away while no one noticed. After taking them out, he fused them with the rank 4 platform. Thunderous rumbles echoed and it grew once more. In the blink of an eye, it was 50,000 feet. From a distance, this 50,000-foot platform was extremely large and shocking. Miao Yin's platform was already really close to rank 4, and adding on the rune from Wang Lin and those near 100 cultivators, it had reached rank 5. Sitting on the platform, Wang Lin felt that divine sense-like thing that came from the platform enter his mind. He had already experienced this, so he wasn't surprised. After observing carefully, 2 more areas were opened in the map in his mind. The 5 maps connected together and lifted the veil off almost half of the tomb. After Wang Lin found where he was, his eyes narrowed. I have actually reached here. In a short half-hour of being thrown by the arm, Wang Lin had crossed 3 maps. He had even gone through the 4th map and arrived close to the edge of the 5th map. This place was the inner part of the ancient tomb. Not far away from Wang Lin was the shape of a leaf on the 5th map that marked out a forest. Wang Lin was familiar with this forest. It was where Greed got the ancient leaf. It was also where Greed saw the statue that caused the woman in silver to scream in horror. The 7-colored statue. Wang Lin had completed his rank 5 platform. In the 6th map, the fog wasn't dense, but there were countless spatial rifts here. If one was a bit careless, they would be torn apart. There was a 60,000-foot platform here with countless skulls scattered around. Although they looked messy, they created a skull formation. There was an old man sitting in the center of this platform, soaked in the smell of blood. The old man was wearing black and half of his hair was white. His face was rapidly changing between young and old. Between his eyebrows was a moon-like mark, but this wasn't the mark of the Moon Clan. Instead, it almost looked like a devil's seal. If Dao Master Miao Yin's avatar was here, he would be shocked and extremely cautious. This person was one of the 5 masters that was seriously injured in the Fallen Land before, Devil Master 9 Heavens. Devil Master 9 Heavens suddenly opened his eyes. There were flashes of black and white from his eyes. The 6th one. Devil Master 9 Heavens' voice was hoarse. It sounded like 2 flying swords rubbing against each other. In the 4th map, the fog surged, sounding like countless ghosts were howling inside. This howl could shake one's mind and it filled the area. There weren't many cultivators here, and as the fog rumbled, a 50,000-foot platform was rapidly flying forward. There was a burly man standing on this platform. His upper body gave off a feeling of power. There seemed to be a giant wolf shadow roaring behind him. The platform was covered in dried blood, and there were several wounds on his body. He was the 3rd-step cultivator from the Heavenly Wolf clan that had come here while chasing Wang Lin. As the platform moved forward rapidly, his expression was serious. However, his eyes lit up and his right hand formed a seal. As his right hand pressed down on the platform, rumbles echoed inside his mind. A moment later, his expression became extremely gloomy. Another rank 5 platform has appeared. I wonder which 3rd-step cultivator it is. Deep within the fog sea, there floated countless sealed platforms. Above them was a 50,000-foot platform rapidly flying through the fog. There was a woman sitting on the platform. She wore white and her long black hair fluttered in the wind. Her expression was indifferent. While moving forward, she suddenly frowned and her expression turned cold for a second. Who is it? Maybe it is that Miao Yin. The woman pondered for a moment before continuing to move forward with the platform. Even deeper in the ancient tomb than all of them was an area without fog. There was only endless airflow that could tear up everything. A roar echoed as a figure hundreds of feet tall walked forward like crazy. He wasn't fast, and the endless airflow constantly crashed into his body, constantly creating wounds and causing the figure to roar even more angrily. Behind this figure was a platform more than 10,000 feet large. There was a woman in pink sitting on the platform. She was so charming that she could charm the hearts and minds of many people. Big Brother Tuasen has to be fast. Whether this little sister can enter the depths of the tomb, all depends on Big Brother. The woman in pink covered her mouth and smiled. Her beautiful eyes were filled with charm and her voice was flirtatious. When her voice entered your ears, it would create an itching feeling in your heart. Shut up for this god. Which you're too annoying. If you continue to be noisy, this god. Before Tuasen finished speaking, her laughter echoed once more. Even her body began to tremble while she laughed as if she was a flower. I just like your rough ways. How about we stop and you let me give you a bit of sweetness to vent your anger? Okay. The veins on Tuasen's face swelled. He let out a roar and no longer paid attention to the woman as he walked forward. The two of them gradually disappeared into the distance. Only the flirtatious laughter continued to echo and linger. In the fifth map, Wang Lin was pondering. He was about to withdraw his divine sense from that platform when an ancient voice began to echo inside his mind. Obtaining the rank 5 tomb means you can open the reincarnation door and become someone who can obtain my inheritance. Rank 9 is the final rank. If one is from my clan, they can enter the reincarnation door and seek my inheritance. If not my clan, they can go to my hell. This Lord, Yemo. This voice echoed inside Wang Lin's mind. The moment he vanished, Wang Lin's mind seemed to become one with the ancient tomb. Beside him, he could clearly feel for faint auras. Ancient Order Yemo. Wang Lin's mind was shaken. This was the second time he had heard this name. The first time was from the first-generation vermilion bird. He clearly remembered the words of the first-generation vermilion bird. This old man doesn't know much about ancient god cultivation, but during my time the ancient god's power was heaven-shaking. Back then, although the ancient order's Yemo wasn't as strong as the ancient celestial sovereign, the ancient celestial sovereign still dreaded him. Wang Lin pondered for a long time and then his eyes shined brightly. With Wang Lin's cunning, he naturally figured out that these 4 auras were all rank 5 or above platforms like his. I can sense their presence after obtaining a rank 5 platform, so they have obviously felt my presence too. This ancient order tomb is extremely strange. Where is the hell the voice mentioned? After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he suppressed the fluctuations caused by the voice. He looked down at the platform below him. He was certain now that in the ancient order tomb the platforms were the key. According to the voice, I must make the platform reach rank 9 before everyone else. Wang Lin looked into the depths of the fog. According to the map, that was where the mysterious forest was located. Greed found the ancient leaf and statue there. He also said that after touching the statue, a vortex appeared. After he entered the vortex, he left the tomb and appeared in the outer realm. I wonder if that vortex is still there. No matter what happens, I must go visit that forest. After making up his mind, Wang Lin controlled the platform to move forward rapidly. He cultivated to make sure he recovered as quickly as possible. He also spread out his aura and attracted a large amount of humanoid beasts from the fog. The moment they got close, a blood light would flash and they would die miserably. The life force entered Wang Lin's body, causing his injuries to rapidly recover. He continued to kill as he moved forward. After several hours, Wang Lin left countless corpses that were then devoured by the fog. After a long time, the platform slowly stopped. There was no fog before the platform, but a withering yellow light that created a distortion. Wang Lin opened his eyes and looked at the distortion before him. His divine sense spread out toward it, but the moment his divine sense touched the distortion, it was knocked back by a powerful force. His eyes lit up and the distorted yellow light flickered like crazy. Soon, a phantom leaf imprint appeared. The imprint looked exactly like an ancient leaf. Wang Lin's right hand reached out and an ancient leaf appeared. He threw the leaf and it flew toward the distorted yellow light. Soon it landed inside the imprint. Thunderous rumbles echoed and countless cracks appeared as if it was collapsing. A gap was created in an instant. Wang Lin put away the platform without hesitation and entered the gap. After he disappeared, the gap closed and became a yellow distortion again. A withered aura rushed at Wang Lin. It contained the taste of death. Wang Lin appeared in an endless forest full of withered trees. It was a shocking scene. This is the place. Wang Lin's gaze swept the area. This place was exactly the same as what Greed described. Wang Lin rushed forward toward the center of the forest. This forest was too big. Even with Wang Lin's speed, it took him a while to reach the center, where there were no withered trees. There was a vortex floating above this empty area. It looked like it led to another realm. Wang Lin landed 1,000 feet from the vortex. He looked at the ground below the vortex and saw that it was concave. It was as if there was a statue here a long time ago, and a large stump that hadn't withered. The ancient leaf is a powerful treasure. Since it was born here, there must be another way to obtain more. Wang Lin retreated and arrived next to a withered tree. He placed his right hand on the tree and his divine sense went into the tree to observe. However, just as his divine sense entered the tree, Wang Lin exclaimed. He clearly felt his divine sense go into the tree and enter the earth below. This caused him to see something shocking. Wang Lin rapidly withdrew his right hand and jumped into the air. He looked down while floating in the air. The shape of this extremely large forest was the shape of a skull. So it's like this. His gaze pierced through the withered forest and looked at what was below. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes as he waved his hand and the blood sword appeared. It shot toward the earth below. The sword energy howled as it charged down. At this moment, at the end of the 4th map, the Heavenly Wolf Clan's burly man followed the map and entered the 5th map. His expression was hideous and there was a hint of greed in his eyes. After entering the 5th map, he waved his hand and an ancient leaf appeared in his hand. I spent a lot of effort to steal one of 2 leaves, but the other was taken by Ling Dong. He disappeared without a trace. This leaf looks very ordinary, and if I had not seen that it had power similar to the Sealing Extermination Clan when I was chasing that damn little cultivator, I wouldn't have known of its importance. There is a leaf mark at the end of the 5th map. Perhaps there is more of this. The burly man licked his lips and controlled his platform to move forward. The blood sword howled and moved like lightning toward the earth. Just as the blood sword descended, a roar echoed from the earth. A large amount of fine cracks appeared on the earth and purple light came out of the cracks. From afar it looked like the earth was hiding a purple sun. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the earth quickly collapsed, creating a huge concave. The concave continued to enlarge and the purple light flashed intensely. The surface was broken, revealing what was beneath. As the purple light flashed, a purple python thousands of feet long came out from underground. This beast had no head at the front of its body, only a crack that shot purple poison toward the blood sword. There was a thunderous bang and the blood sword pierced through the purple poison and went directly into the crack on the beast. It then pierced through the entire beast. Miserable screams came from the earth. The blood sword rumbled as it flashed through the ground. Wang Lin formed a seal and waved his hand. A giant palm print appeared and rushed at the ground below. All of this happened in a flash. The moment the palm appeared, it absorbed endless origin energy. It created a powerful gust of wind and landed on the earth. The earth trembled and large amounts of dried trees shattered into pieces that scattered in all directions. When the palm print landed on the ground, it created a powerful shockwave that echoed across the earth. Still not coming out? There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. As the palm print landed, the earth began to collapse. The dirt dissipated into dust, and as the layers disintegrated, a huge sinkhole appeared. A portion of a gray-white skull was revealed under the earth. It was part of the right eye. This skull was beyond large, and it occupied the entire area under the forest. There were 4 python-like beasts roaring and rushing out from the right eye socket. Wang Lin floated up into the air, where he could clearly see through the 4 beasts. He saw a giant tumor inside. These 4 beasts were tentacles of that tumor. It was similar to the moongazer serpent, but it was definitely not a moongazer serpent. When Wang Lin checked the withered tree, he learned that there was a huge skull buried below. This entire forest was growing on this skull. Wang Lin had felt a violent life force below and had caused it to attack. That's why he had flown into the air and attacked first without hesitation. With Wang Lin's cultivation level now, he even had the power to battle the moongazer serpent from all heaven, much less this beast that was similar to a moongazer serpent but far weaker. Even Ling Dong, who was almost at the 3rd step, had become his slave. This shows how much Wang Lin has grown and how strong he is. At this moment, Wang Lin was calm and moved downward like lightning. In an instant, he arrived next to the tentacle beasts. Just as they howled, 9-colored fire burned in Wang Lin's left eye. With a wave of his hand, a firestorm rushed out and surrounded the 4 tentacle beasts. As the fire raged, popping sounds echoed. Miserable screams echoed as the fire spread deep into the skull toward its main body. Blood light flashed as the blood sword continued to cause large amounts of damage. Miserable screams were echoing when a violent purple suddenly flashed. The tumor hidden inside shrank more and more until it turned into a ray of light. It was about to escape into the sky. When the tumor appeared, its body was revealed. It was a giant tumor with a large amount of tentacles around it, and it gave off a foul stench. It looked too similar to a moongazer serpent. If it wasn't for the fact that it gave off no ancient god power, Wang Lin would have thought it was a mutated moongazer serpent. Wang Lin's gaze was cold as the thunder tattoo flashed in his right eye and appeared. In the blink of an eye, the sky was covered by a giant thunder vortex. The thunder tattoo replaced the sky and descended upon the tumor. As it descended, countless thunderbolts struck down on the tumor. After 3 breaths, the thunder tattoo surrounded the tumor. The miserable screams became an echo after the tumor collapsed, and not a bit of it remained. After killing this strange tumor, Wang Lin looked at the skull under the earth. He gradually descended and landed on the skull. He waved his hand and the solely dissipated. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the forest disappeared. The earth was peeled off layer by layer, revealing a giant head that had been buried there for an unknown amount of time. This head was extremely big, and what was revealed was merely half of it. There were 9 star marks on the skull, but the 9th and 2nd stars were blurry. 9-star ancient god. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he took a deep breath. This was the first time he had seen the corpse of a 9-star ancient god. He looked at the skull and began to ponder. He immediately saw that the position of the statue suppressed the entire skull. The purpose of the 7-colored statue was to seal the 9-star ancient god's head. There was sadness in Wang Lin's eyes. He was an ancient god, and when he entered the tomb he saw countless dead ancient gods. The complicated emotions of seeing this 9-star ancient god's head caused sorrow to flood his heart. Even 9-star ancient gods are dead? Wang Lin slowly arrived between the eyebrows of the ancient god, crouched down and touched the stars. There wasn't much ancient god power left. Most of it had been lost with the passage of time. Touching the skull, it wasn't difficult for Wang Lin to speculate what had happened before. A giant ancient god was killed by the 7-colored cultivator and had his head cut off. A 7-colored statue was placed to seal the head. As time passed, dust gathered and formed soil around the head. For some unknown reason, trees began to grow and this place gradually became a forest. Wang Lin silently pondered as he looked at the skull below and frowned. The power of a 9-star ancient god was unimaginable, and their body extremely large. Unless the ancient gods suppressed their size, there was no way it would only be this large. Maybe. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his body flickered. He flew through the eye socket and entered the skull. This place was very large, and after a while, Wang Lin walked out with a bone fragment the size of his hand. The ancient god's 3 trials 7 calamities. He was killed while going through his 2nd trial. Wang Lin sat there while looking at the bone fragment in his hand and pondered. What kind of place is the ancient order tomb? Who made it and what is its purpose? Wang Lin pondered and recalled everything that had happened after he entered. The ancient god was extremely mysterious, and even now he still couldn't grasp it. However, he remembered the shocking scene he saw from the Tao spirit. Raising the heavenly Tao with a Tao pill is not a good method. I have to find another way to make the heavenly Tao I stole grow faster. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He was still pondering this. From this, it was apparent that the 7-colored Taoist had stolen the heaven's Tao. But where and who did he steal it from? There was no way for Wang Lin to know this. What he focused on was to find another method to raise the heavenly Tao. Another method. Wang Lin looked at the skull below him and a bold guess entered his mind. Suppose that the 7-colored Taoist was the ancient celestial emperor. Before he obtained the heaven-defying bead, he stole the heavenly Tao, and for some reason he needed to raise it. He felt it was too difficult to raise it with Tao spirits and so he set up a trap. Wang Lin's eyes became even brighter and he continued to analyze. He clearly remembered that the 1st-generation vermilion bird had said that there were ancient gods in his hometown. Although they weren't the overlords, the ancient god dared to resist against the overlord of the world. The 1st-generation vermilion bird mentioned one name, Ancient Order Yemo. Why not Ancient God Yemo, Ancient Devil Yemo, or Ancient Demon Yemo but Ancient Order? Could it be that with this name one can determine that Yemo wasn't a god, devil or demon, but an ancient order? When I reached the ascendant stage in the demon spirit land, Ancient demon Tajia said that the ancient order was the first generation of heaven-defying beings, and they gave birth to the second generation of heaven-defying beings. There was also the messenger of the heavens that appeared when Wan Er's lifespan reached its end. It was clearly a sealed ancient god. There was also the messenger of the heavens that appeared in the Scatter Thunder clan. When I broke his arm, he noticed I was an ancient god, and he called me traitor of the void extinction Tao. Wang Lin's breathing became rough and he vaguely guessed something. Traitor of the void extinction Tao, the heavenly Tao is dead. The messenger of the heavens called me the clan that killed the void Tao. But who is the void? Could it be the seven-colored Taoist, who is the ancient celestial emperor, who is also the first-generation vermilion bird's master? However, if this is the truth, there are a lot of things that don't make sense. Why is an ancient god the messenger of the heavens? The heavenly Tao is dead, but what exactly is it? Not its actual body, but what kind of existence is it and how does it relate to this world? Cultivation. Could we all be cultivating this heavenly Tao that may or may not be dead? There was confusion in Wang Lin's eyes. It is very likely that the other method the ancient celestial emperor thought of was related to the ancient order. The ancient celestial emperor lured the ancient order here. He schemed around the ancient order and even the three clans. He wanted to use them to raise the heavenly Tao. Someone like the ancient celestial emperor would only act when he felt 100% sure, so he should have succeeded. However, how did the heavenly Tao get killed in the end? Also, back in the Alliance star system, when I was going through divine retribution, I inadvertently opened a spatial rift that led to a strange world. There were many ancient god, ancient demon, and ancient devil statues there. Is that place related to the ancient order tomb? And is it related to the seven-colored Taoist? Also, almost every generation of vermilion bird has been sealed. Everything points toward the sovereign's teacher. Who is the sovereign's teacher? There is also the woman in silver who screamed and went berserk after seeing the statue of the seven-colored Taoist. She kept saying that she didn't open the door. What exactly was the door and why was the seven-colored Taoist so angry that he began a slaughter? Could this door be the one that leads to the heavenly Tao? Or a door that sealed his enemy? Or a door to another world? Or everything I've guessed is wrong? Wang Lin frowned. He could only analyze to this point given the clues he found. He wasn't certain of much himself. When the Rank 5 platform was formed, the voice that called himself Yemo said that the people of his clan could pass the reincarnation gate to obtain his inheritance. People not of his clan can go to his Earth Palace. What is this Earth Palace? Wang Lin rubbed his temples and his eyes lit up. No matter what, the existence of the ancient order tomb is bound to be related to the seven-colored Taoist. Was this place created to raise the heavenly Tao? Or a place Yemo created to pass down his inheritance after he died? This is called the ancient order tomb. Could this be the tomb of ancient order Yemo? The more he pondered, the more confused he became. After a long time, he let out a sigh and no longer thought about these irritating things. His eyes lit up and he looked at the withered trees around him. If I'm not wrong, these trees were planted by someone. After the statue sealed the skull, the trees absorbed the ancient god aura inside the head. The reason they all withered and died is because all the ancient god power in the skull has dissipated over time. Without ancient god power, they withered. When greed came here, he only saw one tree left. If he hadn't come, it is likely that the last tree would have withered too. It can be said that aside from greed, it has been a very long time since someone came here, including the person who planted these trees. It is likely that he planted them and never came back. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. After pondering a bit, he revealed a decisive gaze. He sat down between the eyebrows of the skull and took a deep breath. Then his hand formed seals and a large amount of restrictions filled the sky, forming a protective barrier. He also summoned the thunder tattoo and hid it in the sky. The 9-colored fire also appeared, and even the blood sword was hidden in the sky by Wang Lin. All of his preparations were stacked together to form a powerful killing formation. If anyone dared to recklessly charge in, they would be trapped in this killing formation. After setting up the defenses, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to pour all his ancient god power into the skull below. The skull was like a bottomless pit. No matter how much ancient god power Wang Lin poured in, there was no change. Time slowly passed, But Wang Lin didn't stop pouring ancient god power into the skull. The ancient god stars between his eyebrows started shining. As the 6 stars rotated, even more ancient god power rushed out. After several hours of Wang Lin nourishing the skull with his ancient god power, he noticed something about the skull change. The withered trees seemed to gain nourishment and began to show signs of life. However, if he wanted to revive all the trees here, it would not only take too much time, but Wang Lin didn't have enough ancient god power. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin gave up reviving them all and focused his ancient god power on 19 of the trees. Time passed. The 19 trees gradually changed from the withered state as more and more vitality returned. Their trunks were restored to their original color, and the restoration gradually spread upwards. This process was extremely boring. As Wang Lin maintained the injection of ancient god power, his right hand pointed to between his eyebrows and the Emperor Furnace appeared before him. The Emperor Furnace could be big or small. Right now it was only 100 feet large. It was chaotic inside it and faint screams could be heard. Wang Lin split his mind in two. Then he formed a seal and pointed at the furnace. The chaos inside the furnace dissipated and a black ocean appeared before Wang Lin. This ocean was dead and there were no waves. A large amount of poison Joss flame souls was inside. Refine. Wang Lin pointed forward and the poison ocean seemed to burn. Muffled roars could be heard and large waves formed whirlpools that raged violently. This ocean is made of Great Desolation's poison along with Tao Master Miao Yin's Joss flame souls. After I refine it, it will become a powerful poison treasure. Wang Lin's expression was calm and he began to refine. The ocean inside the Emperor Furnace roared even more violently. The countless Joss flame souls let out shrill screams. These voices were extremely harsh. Fortunately, they were blocked by the Emperor Furnace, so by the time they reached outside, they had weakened a lot. Thunderous rumbles went on non-stop and large amounts of black fog floated above the ocean. This black fog was the ocean that was refined into gas, and it soon filled the entire Emperor Furnace. However, the black fog didn't dissipate. It continued to gather. After it gathered to a certain point, it turned into black clouds. Then drops of black rain fell back into the ocean. This became a cycle, but when the ocean water turned into rain, there was a lot less of it. It wasn't that there was less poison, but the poison was now more condensed. Shortly after, more and more black clouds appeared in the Emperor Furnace, and the rain continued to fall. Waves roared, and as Wang Lin continued to refine, the ocean level decreased. After 3 days of non-stop rain, only half of the ocean remained. The color of the ocean was now dark black, and not even divine sense could penetrate it. The poison inside became even more terrifying. Seeing that nothing abnormal had happened and the poison ocean was still being refined, Wang Lin relaxed. He waved his hand and the poison ocean disappeared and another realm appeared. This realm was also filled with an endless ocean. But this ocean was purple and was filled with rare Joss flame souls. Esteemed Lingdong was sitting at the bottom of the ocean. His hands formed a seal as he refined these Joss flame souls like crazy. He was trying to make them dedicate their Joss flames to him. There was a giant statue behind esteemed Lingdong. This was the devil god statue from Lingdong's clan. This statue gave off a light, and all the Joss flame souls that were shrouded in this light revealed confusion and struggle. Some Joss flame souls had already been converted, giving their Joss flames to Lingdong to be absorbed. Esteemed Lingdong's face was rosy and filled with excitement. When Wang Lin saw this, he frowned slightly. These Joss flame souls belonged to Tao Master Miao Yin, and even for esteemed Lingdong, it would take a long time to convert them. Although Wang Lin was in no rush, the ancient order tomb was dangerous. If he could speed up Lingdong's absorption and help him enter the third step, it would help Wang Lin greatly. While pondering, Wang Lin split off a part of his divine sense into the Emperor Furnace. Then his figure appeared in the sky above the purple ocean. Ancient slave. A majestic voice echoed inside the Emperor Furnace. Esteemed Lingdong opened his eyes and revealed fervor and respect. He then rushed above the ocean. He stopped 100 feet from Wang Lin and knelt down in the air. Ancient slave Lingdong greets Master. I wonder if Master has anything that he wants this ancient slave to do. Wang Lin's phantom coldly looked at esteemed Lingdong. After a long time he slowly said, I'll give you a spell. I believe that with your cultivation level you should be able to learn it quickly. With this spell, you can absorb the Joss flames here and enter the real third step. Esteemed Ling Dong suddenly raised his head and fervor filled his eyes. He had cultivated for his entire life to become a third-step cultivator, but due to the lack of Joss flames he was stopped. Forget the fact that he was under the effect of Wang Lin's Dream Dao and the Emperor Furnace. If Wang Lin could give him such a great fortune, even if he wasn't under any influence, he would still be willing to follow Wang Lin. As long as he could complete his Dao, he was willing to do whatever it took. Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed forward. A seal shot toward Ling Dong. Ling Dong didn't stop it, allowing it to penetrate his forehead and land on his origin soul. Dao spell fuse. Quickly comprehend his spell. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. He was extremely satisfied with taking an esteemed Ling Dong. With the Emperor Furnace and many other methods, he wasn't afraid of Ling Dong betraying him. If I can meet another early-stage third-step cultivator, it won't be difficult to battle them with Ling Dong here. If I can capture that person and refine another ancient slave. Wang Lin's divine sense disappeared from the sky above the sea and returned to his body. At the same time outside, the burly man from the Heavenly Wolf clan was rushing through on his rank 5 platform. He was getting closer and closer to this location. Not far away, only 3 more days for me to get there. If I can obtain 9 of these leaves, I can use my Heavenly Wolf Dao and seal it so it can stay with me forever. Even though I'll still be at the early stage of Nirvana Void, but I'll be the strongest early stage Nirvana Void cultivator. The burly man's eyes were filled with excitement as he controlled the platform to fly faster and faster. Esteemed Ling Dong was gifted the Fuse Dao spell by Wang Lin. Then his body trembled and he gradually sank into the bottom of the ocean. He was very talented. If he wasn't, he wouldn't be half a step into the third step. Esteemed Ling Dong had completely understood the Dao spell after several hours. Although his understanding wasn't as deep as Wang Lin's, it was enough to deal with these Joss flame souls that were without a master. The ocean inside the Emperor Furnace churned violently until it formed a giant vortex. At the center was esteemed Ling Dong. His eyes gave off a mysterious light as he used the Dao spell Wang Ling had given him to fuse with the Joss flame souls. Wang Lin was still sitting outside the Emperor Furnace as he continued to use his ancient god power to nourish those 19 trees. Right now the trees no longer looked withered. Giving off powerful vitality, the trees showed signs of growing leaves. After withdrawing his gaze, Wang Lin waved his right hand and a rift to his storage space opened. He reached in and pulled out the sealed girl from the Sealing Extermination clan. Although the girl's appearance wasn't superb, she was still very beautiful. Her black hair was covering part of her pale face and her eyes were closed. Her timid expression would make people want to care for her. "What is your name?" After taking her out, Wang Lin eased the seal a bit to allow her to awaken, but her eyes were still closed. After hearing Wang Lin's question, her eyelashes trembled and she slowly opened her eyes. Her eyes were very beautiful with distinct black and white, but right now they were filled with panic. She bit her lower lip and didn't dare to look at Wang Lin. Looking at her, Wang Lin couldn't help remember another face filled with the same panic and timidness. The only difference was that that pair of eyes also contained stubbornness and hatred, very similar to Yao Shishua. Wang Lin's eyes gradually grew cold and he slowly said, "What is your name?" The girl from the Sealing Extermination clan's voice trembled and she whispered, "Jiman. Feng Jiman. Jiman. It is a good name. You have died twice. How did you survive?" Wang Lin's voice was calm, but a pressure spread out and shrouded this girl. "I'm the maid of Dao Master Miao Yin. You've captured me, so he will definitely kill you." The girl bit her lower lip and looked at Wang Lin. Her timidness was still there, but she suppressed it by force. Wang Lin slowly said, "He can't enter the Ancient Order tomb." After the girl heard this, her face became even more pale. She was a smart person, so she immediately understood Wang Lin's meaning. Impossible. The Dao Master's avatar couldn't have been killed. The girl was terrified and even her voice became sharp. Wang Lin coldly looked at the girl and didn't explain. He waved his hand and a jade flew out. The jade touched her forehead and the scene of Dao Master Miao Yin's avatar dying appeared in her mind. This girl was someone close to Dao Master Miao Yin, so she knew a lot about his spells. She had her own method of determining if the information inside the jade was true or false. The girl's face became more and more pale. It wasn't difficult for her to see that this was true. Under the attack from Wang Lin and Great Desolation, there was no chance for Miao Yin's avatar, who had his cultivation suppressed, to survive. In particular, seeing Great Desolation possessing Miao Yin's avatar made her last sliver of hope disappear, and she trembled. My patience is limited. If you don't answer my question, I'll crush your soul. Wang Lin's voice gradually grew colder. He knew that there was something strange about the Sealing Extermination clan, so he didn't use soul search directly but first crushed her resistance. The panic in the girl's eyes became even stronger. She knew that she had no chance of escaping. Her master had already died, sealing her path of retreat. Wang Lin slowly said, "There was no deep hatred between us before. Even if you did hunt me, I have killed you once, so that can be offset. If you cooperate, I won't kill you, and I can even let you go." The girl pondered for a bit and whispered, "My Sealing Extermination clan members have 3 lives." Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he quickly asked, "From what spell?" The girl bit her lower lip and softly said, "It's not a spell. When the people of my Sealing Extermination clan are born, the elder of the clan takes us to worship the ancestor. After worshipping the ancestor, we have 3 lives. You are courting death. You still dare to hide things from me? Since you're asking for your death, don't blame me." There was a flash of killing intent in Wang Lin's eyes as he raised his right hand and slammed down on the girl's forehead. The girl's eyes were filled with endless fear. She screamed, "I'm not hiding anything. When members of my clan are born, they have no clan mark. Only after worshipping the ancestor does the clan mark appear, and then we would have 3 lives." Wang Lin's right hand stopped 3 inches from the girl's forehead and he coldly stared at her. "How is the sealing spell from the Sealing Extermination clan used?" "We offer our life and open the clan mark. The power of the ancestor comes out from the mark and carries out the seal," the girl quickly answered in fear. As soon as she finished speaking, Wang Lin's right hand suddenly landed on her forehead and he began to soul search. Her mind collapsed and put up no resistance as Wang Lin swept through it. With Wang Lin's cultivation level, he could easily search her memory without injuring her soul. After learning all her memories, her eyes lit up and his right hand swept across her forehead. He pulled out her clan mark from her forehead. With a wave of his hand, seals filled her body and he put her away inside his storage space. He then pondered as he looked at the flickering clan mark in his hand. The Sealing Extermination clan was an extremely strange clan. They weren't related by blood but captured babies, and if they could survive worshipping the ancestor, they would become part of their clan. The chance of death was very high, and a long time ago, the Sealing Extermination clan's altar disappeared. At the present day, there were very few Sealing Extermination clan members remaining, and because the clan mark was branded on them, they wouldn't die when they lost their clan mark, and even their cultivation level wouldn't fall. They would just no longer belong to the Sealing Extermination clan. What was noteworthy about the Sealing Extermination clan, aside from their bizarre sealing spell, was their amazing 3 lives spell. This spell could be taken and used on someone else. After looking at the Sealing Extermination clan mark, Wang Lin silently put it away. As for the girl, he didn't intend to kill her. There wasn't any hate between them and he had taken her clan mark. After leaving the Ancient Order tomb, he would just release her. Just as he put away the clan mark, Wang Lin suddenly looked up at the 19 trees he was nourishing. These trees were filled with life and were very green. Countless leaves appeared on the trees. However, none of these leaves were ancient leaves, so he continued to inject ancient god power into them. One of the trees looked like an autumn tree, and its leaves gradually fell. Only 1 leaf remained and didn't fall. As a result, all the ancient god power that entered the tree rushed into that leaf. Wang Lin calmly stared at it, and after the leaf absorbed a large amount of ancient god power, it flashed. However, it was still a normal leaf without any aura of an ancient leaf. In an instant, the root of the leaf loosened as if it was going to fall. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and the leaf fell from the tree. It slowly landed on the ground and became an ordinary leaf. The tree no longer absorbed ancient god power and slowly withered until it turned to dust. Wang Lin began to frown. At this moment, the leaves on the remaining 18 trees began to fall. From the looks of it, it was going to be the same as before. If this continued, then the large amount of time and ancient god power Wang Lin had spent would be for nothing. Why is it like this? Could it be that I misjudged it? Ancient leaf. Ancient leaf. Ancient leaf. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as if he had noticed something. He suddenly stood up and stared at the 18 trees before him. He then took a deep breath and blew. A gust of wind filled with his breath howled toward the 18 trees. As the wind swept by, the leaves on the 18 trees all fell, leaving behind only 18 leaves. They were blown by Wang Lin's breath and seemed to absorb the aura within. Then they began to emit a radiant light. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with joy and his right hand reached out at the void. The 18 leaves detached from the trees and flew toward Wang Lin. Ancient leaves. The first joy didn't end when the second one arrived. The poison ocean inside the Emperor Furnace had dissipated and turned into 9 drops of poison that would shock even great desolation. Every single drop of poison was filled with countless Joss flame souls and heavenly poison. The third joy came. In the other realm of the Emperor Furnace, esteemed Ling Dong had absorbed all the Joss flame souls from the Purple Sea, and he had finally taken the crucial half-step. He had become a true third-step cultivator. The vortex rotated rapidly and esteemed Ling Dong charged out. His eyes were filled with excitement and a powerful aura erupted from him. Countless Joss flames appeared around Ling Dong like illusory ribbons. This was a distinctive characteristic of third-step cultivators. After the third joy came the fourth. Thunderous rumbles echoed in the sky above the forest. A platform 50,000 feet large came through the distortion in the sky. There was a burly man standing on the platform. He was startled as he didn't expect to see Wang Lin here.